Good morning, students. We are going to cover another interesting asset-based standard today. Students, so far we have covered property, plant and equipment Ind AS 16, which is an asset-based standard. We have also covered Ind AS 38 on intangible assets. We have covered Ind AS 40 on investment property. We have understood and covered Ind AS 23, which is borrowing cost. The borrowing cost which will become part of the cost of the asset, right? The borrowing cost which will increase the value of the asset, increase the cost of the asset, which is a qualifying asset in nature. For example, your investment property, your property, plant and equipment, if it is a qualifying asset, the borrowing cost should be added to the cost of the asset. So we discussed the concept of borrowing cost standard as well. In the last class, we covered and we have concluded the discussion on Ind AS 36 impairment of assets. What is meant by impairment? What is the treatment of impairment? And technically, we understood impairment situation comes when your recoverable value become lower than your carrying value, right? In that case, you have to decrease the value of the asset and you have to take the impairment loss into the P&L until and unless a revaluation surplus exists on that particular asset, right? So if the asset is on revaluation model, then you need to check whether revaluation surplus exists or it does not exist. If it exists, then you are offsetting your revaluation, offsetting your impairment loss with the revaluation surplus. Otherwise, it has to taken to the P&L. So friends, so far we have covered 5 standards: Ind AS 16, PP, Ind AS 38, intangible asset, Ind AS 40, investment property, Ind AS 23, borrowing cost, and Ind AS 36, impairment of asset, which is related to the asset-based standard, right? So today we are going to cover another asset-based standard, which is Ind AS 105. The name of Ind AS 105, the title of Ind AS 105 is non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations. Non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations. So if I'll split this title into 3 parts, what will be the 3 parts? Number 1, non-current assets. You understand current assets and non-current assets? Property, plant and equipment. What is the nature of the property, plant and equipment? Is it current asset or is it non-current asset?
Non-current.
Non-current assets. Very good. Because property, plant and equipment is a tangible item which is held for use in the business and whose life is more than 1 year, right? So property, plant and equipment is a non-current asset. What about inventory?
Current assets.
Inventory is a current asset. Inventory is a current asset. Property, plant and equipment is a non-current asset. So this standard deals with non-current asset. But which non-current asset? Whether this standard deals with PP? Sir, but we have understood, we have already discussed, we have concluded that Ind AS 16 deals with PP. So this standard deals with PP when that PP becomes held for sale. So non-current asset held for sale. Non-current asset held for sale, right? So this standard deals with non-current asset which becomes held for sale. Which becomes held for sale. Sir, if a machinery, a building is held for sale, then it will come under Ind AS 105. Answer is yes. Sir, but when we can say that it is held for sale? Like inventory is always held for sale, right? Inventory का तो purpose ही बेचना होता है. Inventory is an asset which is held for sale in the ordinary course of business. Okay? वो काम ही business का उस inventory को बेचना है. So a few criteria is given under Ind AS 105 that when an asset will be treated as held for sale. Few criteria is given under Ind AS 105. Okay. Okay. So to cut a long story short, this standard deals with non-current asset which is held for sale. Okay. And discontinued operations. This standard also covers discontinued operations, right? This standard also covers discontinued operations. Is that clear, friends? Let me again discuss the title or discuss the context under this standard with the help of an example. What is cars for Maruti? What is cars for Maruti?
Inventory.
Inventory. So these cars for Maruti Suzuki India Limited is inventory, because Maruti is manufacturing and selling these cars in the ordinary course of business. So these cars for Maruti Suzuki India Limited is an inventory. Very good. It's a current asset. Maruti sold 5 Maruti Ciaz cars to the top executives of TCS. TCS purchased 5 Maruti Ciaz cars from Maruti for its top 5 executive employees. Top 5 executives. So these 5 executives didn't like that car. They told that we need Mercedes. We don't need Maruti car. Okay. We are the top class executives of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. We don't need this 5 Maruti Ciaz cars. We need Mercedes. What is the nature of cars in the balance sheet of Maruti, in the balance sheet of TCS?
PPE.
PPE. Very good. So property, plant and equipment. Right? Because TCS purchased these cars. Okay. TCS purchased these cars for the purpose of using in the business, which is used by their employees. So it is PPE. But since TCS employees, TCS top executives didn't like those cars, now TCS wants to sell these cars. Now TCS wants to sell these cars. Whether TCS bread and butter is to sell the car, TCS is engaged in selling of software. Right? Tata Consultancy Services is an IT company. It's not an automobile company. So now TCS wants to sell this car because TCS employees didn't like that car. My question is, now what will be the nature of these cars if TCS wants to sell these cars? Is it inventory? Is it PP or is it something else?
Held for sale.
Held for sale. Very good. So it is not an inventory. Why? Because TCS bread and butter is not to sell the cars. Okay. TCS bread and butter is to sell the software. It's an IT company. So so earlier it was a PP, but when TCS decided to sell these cars, it will become PP held for sale. It will come under Ind AS 105. From Ind AS 16, it will shift to Ind AS 105. Is that clear? Is that clear? So friends, whenever a non-current asset becomes held for sale, inventory क्या होती है? Current होती है, non-current होती है?
Current.
Current. Inventory is always current, right? Inventory is always current because the purpose of the inventory is to sell. Sir, अगर inventory 4 साल तक नहीं बिकी, होता है ना? For example, a real estate, in the real estate business, what is the nature of flat and buildings? Inventory. For DLF, for Godrej Properties, for Hiranandani Group, for DLF, these land, building, plots, flat, these are inventory. These are the current asset. Okay. These are the current asset. Right? Right? But due to COVID or due to some other situations, these groups, these real estate groups were not been able to sell any flat for 3 years. तो क्या नेचर होगा इस इन्वेंट्री का?
नॉन मूविंग आइटम ऑफ इन्वेंट्री.
नहीं, नॉन मूविंग तो ठीक है, स्लो मूविंग, नॉन मूविंग, that is okay. But my question is, if the company is not able to sell the inventory for 4 years, whether it will become current or non-current?
No, it will still be current.
It will still be current. Very good. Very good. Right. So for current and non-current classification, the holding period is not relevant. What is relevant? The purpose is relevant. Whether you want to sell, you don't want to sell, right? You're absolutely right, Sumit. Inventory will always be current. Why? Because it is available for sale in the ordinary course of business. If today someone will come, I will sell this inventory. Okay, is that right? So friends, drawing the same analogy, if my non-current asset will become held for sale, if my non-current asset will become held for sale, PP, when TCS purchased those 5 cars, it was PP, and PP will always be non-current. But when TCS decided to sell these cars, it comes under the category of Ind AS 105, right? And those cars, those 5 cars, has to be shown separately as a separate line item in the balance sheet, non-current asset held for sale. But my question is, when TCS decided to sell these cars, whether it will still be classified as non-current asset or it will come under the category of current asset? You are right, Sumit. It will come under the category of current asset. Why? Because now it is not for use in the business. Now it is for the sale purpose. Okay. So whenever a non-current asset will be classified as held for sale, sir, held for sale कब classify होगा हम discuss करेंगे. But the question is, when a non-current asset will be classified as held for sale, it will become your current asset. It will come under the line item of current asset. I will show you one balance sheet also. Okay, it will be classified as a current asset. Is that clear? I believe the context is clear. Yes. Okay. So friends, talking about the objective of this standard is to specify the accounting for asset held for sale. Accounting for asset held for sale means, what were the 4 pillars of accounting? What were the 4 pillars of accounting?
RMPD.
RMPD, very good. Recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure. This standard talks about all the 4 pillars of accounting for asset held for sale. For asset held for sale. And this standard talks about the presentation and disclosure requirement of discontinued operations, right? So for discontinued operation, this standard has not suggested the recognition and measurement. This standard has suggested presentation and disclosure only, right? So please bear in mind, please keep this in mind. This standard talks about the entire accounting, recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure for asset held for sale. But for discontinued operation, this standard provides some additional disclosures, right? Sir, discontinued operation means accounting क्यों नहीं बताई? So friends, we will be able to understand when we will be able to understand few concepts. Okay. For the time being, this standard talks about the accounting for asset held for sale and some additional disclosures about discontinued operations, right? So friends, I will divide this standard into 3 parts. I will divide this standard into 3 parts and let me explain you that what I am going to cover in this standard. In this standard, I will talk about 3 aspects. I will split this standard into 3 parts. Okay. I will split this standard into 3 parts. So let me move to my Excel file and please confirm if the Excel file is visible, guys. Whether Excel file is visible or not visible.
Not visible.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So any students who have joined late, so not to worry, I have just explained the concept, the context of this standard. I have not started, talking more about this standard. I have just, I'm going to start the concept. So I have given an example. I have set the context of this particular standard, not to worry. I can see a lot of participants have joined. So good morning, everyone. Abrikesh, Anila, Tushar, Hemant, Mamta, Monica, Niranjan, Jini, Pooja, RJ, Stephen, Sumit, Usha, Vignesh. Good morning, everyone. And the people who have joined on the portal. Good morning, Rajat, Rahul, Radhika. Good morning. Yes. Friends, in this standard, we will cover three aspects, right? Number one, let's say I have a building, okay? I have a factory in Lawrence Road area and that factory is having a building. Okay. Have you heard about Lawrence Road area? Lawrence Road is an industrial area in Delhi. Okay. Delhi में एक industrial area, एक factory है Delhi में. So I have a factory in Lawrence Road area in Delhi. I want to sell the factory building. I want to sell the factory building. So I decided to sell the factory building. Sumit came to me and Sumit asked, sir, I have heard that you want to sell your factory. I told Sumit that Sumit, no, I only wants to sell my factory building. Whatever is there inside my factory building, for example, machinery, for example, computer, laptop, office equipment, furniture and fixture, license, software, computer, laptop, etc., etc. I will take along with me and I will shift the entire items which is inside the factory to my new factory, and I only wants to sell my factory building. Friends, is it an individual asset held for sale or is it a group of asset held for sale? Is it an individual asset held for sale or is it a group of asset held for sale?
The individual sale.
Individual asset held for sale, single asset, individual asset held for sale. Okay. So friends, in this standard, we will be covering the following items in detail. In this standard, we will be covering the following items in detail. Number one, we will be covering individual asset held for sale, right? And we will call it as a non-current asset held for sale, non-current asset held for sale. We will call it as a non-current asset held for sale. NCA HFS, okay? Held for sale, I'll call it HFS, okay? NCA HFS. Perfect. Then Hemant came to me and Hemant told me that, sir, why don't you want to sell your entire factory? I will give you good amount of premium. Okay. What is there in your factory? I told Hemant, see, my factory building is there. Okay. He said, yes, sir. Inside the factory, machineries are there. Okay. Computer laptops are there. Furniture and fixture is there. Some licenses, like to operate the factory, I have acquired some license. Okay. If it is a FMCG kind of a industry or factory, I have acquired a license from the Food and Drugs authorities. Okay. I have some softwares because I have also implemented SAP, and I have some raw material, finished good stock, so etc., etc. Okay. There is a loan also which is going on this factory. He told that, sir, nothing doing. I will give you good amount of premium. Okay. Just sell me this entire factory as a whole. Okay. And since you have decided to move to a new factory, why don't you buy a new assets? Here you will deinstall your machinery and then reinstall into your new factory. Better, you will buy the new machines. Hemant has good convincing power and good convincing ability, and I got convinced with Hemant. I told Hemant, okay, I'm ready to sell my entire factory as a whole. My question is whether it is an individual asset held for sale or whether it is a group of asset held for sale. whether it is an individual asset held for sale or whether it is a group of asset held for sale. It is a group of asset held for sale. It is a group of asset held for sale. This is known as a group of asset held for sale. Held for sale. Group of asset held for sale. Friends, whenever it is a group of asset held for sale, this will be known as disposal group. Disposal group held for sale. Disposal group held for sale. Held for sale. In short form, it will be known as DG. DGHFS. Disposal group held for sale. DGHFS in short form. Right? Friends, for individual asset held for sale, this asset will always be a non-current asset. This asset will always be a non-current asset. Okay. For individual asset held for sale, this asset should always be, an individual asset should always be a non-current asset. Okay. वो non-current asset ही होनी चाहिए. For example, there is only one asset which is inventory, and inventory is held for sale. Inventory will always be held for sale. तो क्या इन्वेंट्री इंड एस 105 में आएगी? नहीं आएगी. टाइटल ही नॉन करंट एसेट हेल्ड फॉर सेल है. सो इफ यू आर सेलिंग अ इंडिविजुअल एसेट लाइक फैक्ट्री बिल्डिंग, इट विल ऑलवेज बी द इंडिविजुअल एसेट विल ऑलवेज बी the individual asset will always be a non-current asset. The individual asset will always be a non-current asset. So let me write like that. Otherwise, if you will read this after 2-3 months, might be you get confused. So let me write here. So if there is an individual asset held for sale, that individual asset will always be a non-current, and this will be known as non-current asset held for sale, NCAHFS. NCAHFS. Okay, NCAHFS. Is it fine? Is it fine? वो हमेशा non-current asset होना चाहिए. Friends, if I talk about disposal group held for sale, group of asset held for sale, what is the status? This group of asset held for sale could be, combination. It could be combination of non-current asset as well as current asset, and may also includes liabilities. You remember, in my factory there was a raw material also, there was a finished goods also, and there was a loan also. Okay, so friends, a group of assets may have a combination of non-current asset, current asset, and liabilities as well, right? So group of assets may have a combination, but to be covered under Ind AS 105, that group of assets should have at least one asset which should be non-current asset. उस group of asset में कम से कम एक asset non-current होना चाहिए. Okay, to be covered under Ind AS 105. Friends, we will be covering individual asset held for sale, and that individual asset should always be non-current, right? And we will call it as a non-current asset held for sale. We will be covering group of assets held for sale. That group of assets may be a combination of non-current asset, current asset, and liabilities. Okay, and this will be known as a disposal group held for sale. Any doubt, any problem so far? Any doubt? Any question? Any question? Everything is clear so far? Clear or clear? Clear in mind. Very good. Third, now Abrakesh came to me and he asked that, sir, how many factory you are having? I told I have 2 factories. I have two factories in Delhi. Okay. And I am into the manufacturing of a product, right? Which is a very unique product. And I have two factories. One is Lawrence Road area and one is in Mangolpuri area. Lawrence Road and Mangolpuri. So he told that, okay, I can give you a good amount of premium, good amount of consideration if you will sell both the factory to me, because I want to create a monopolistic situation. If you can sell both the factory to me and sign a clause where you will not enter into the same line of business in Delhi, you are free. You are free to, open your factory in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, wherever, but not in Delhi. Okay. So you have to discontinue this geographical area of operations. You have to discontinue your product in Delhi. Okay. So friends, what this situation is called? Is it an individual asset held for sale? Is it a group of asset held for sale? Or is it a discontinued operations? I'm waiting for the answer.
Discontinued operation.
Discontinued operations. Discontinued operations. Friends, while I will discuss all these items in detail, all these items in length, but just to set the context so that you will be able to understand whenever I'll progress in this standard, I will talk about a lot of concepts. You will be able to understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So discontinued operation. What is a discontinued operation? What is a discontinued operation? Discontinued operations is discontinuation of a major product. A major product means major product or a business segment, I would say, or a geographical area of operations, or a geographical area of operations. Geographical area of operations. Okay. Right. So we will be talking about these three aspects, my dear students. Standard has given the accounting, which is recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure of individual asset held for sale, group of asset held for sale, and some additional requirements for discontinued operation, additional disclosure requirement. Why? Because if a discontinued operation is a disposal group, भाई डिस्कंटिन्यूड ऑपरेशन क्या होगा? जब आप अपना बिजनेस बेचोगे तो ग्रुप ऑफ एसेट्स और लायबिलिटी तो बेचोगे, तो डिस्पोजल ग्रुप तो हो गया ना वो भी. Every, so not necessarily that every, discontinued operations. So discontinued operations जब आप बेचोगे, कोई ऑपरेशन डिसकंटिन्यू करोगे तो डिस्पोजल ग्रुप भी होगा, हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है. डिस्पोजल ग्रुप का मतलब you are disposing of that group of assets. Okay. So if you are disposing of that group of assets, तो अकाउंटिंग तो ऑलरेडी दी हुई है डिस्पोजल ग्रुप की, तो आप वो अकाउंटिंग अप्लाई करोगे. एंड if it is a discontinued operation, then you have to apply the additional disclosure requirement also, right? So you will be able to understand when I will reach on discontinued operations. Okay. But for the time being, my dear friends, we will be covering these three aspects in this standard. Number one, individual asset held for sale, and that individual asset held for sale will always be a non-current, right? That has to be non-current so that it will become non-current asset held for sale. Okay. Group of asset held for sale. So group of asset may have a combination of current, non-current, and liabilities. And this is known as a disposal group held for sale. And we will be talking about discontinued operations, which is discontinuation of a major line of product, business segment, or a geographical area of operations. Okay. Correct? Correct? Is that clear? Shall I move on to the next concepts? Shall I move on to the next concepts? Right. So NCA-HFS, what is the definition of NCA-HFS? What is the definition of non-current asset held for sale? NCA-HFS, right? Friends, non-current asset held for sale and disposal group held for sale, from the held for sale criteria perspective, recognition perspective, definition perspective, it is same. Okay. So what is NCA-HFS? The only difference is NCA-HFS is a single asset and DGHFS is a group of asset. Okay. So wherever you find the standard, you will find a non-current asset within bracket or disposal group. A non-current asset within bracket or disposal group means every criteria is same for a group of asset or for an individual asset to be classified as held for sale. Okay. So what is the definition of NCHFS? NCHFS means non-current asset or disposal group held for sale are principally those assets where carrying amount is principally recovered through sale transaction, right? Not through the continuing use. Carrying amount is principally recovered through sale transaction, not through the continuing use. If you are acquiring a PP, what is the future economic benefit you are expected from PP?
Expected cash flow that we are going to be receive while using that asset.
Very
So-
good. Very good. So you have used the word using the asset. Using the asset where? Into the business. Correct? If it is a machinery, you will use that machinery for the purpose of production of goods in the business. If you have purchased a truck, the purpose is to transport the goods. The purpose is to use the truck in the business to transport the goods from factory to the buyer location. If you have purchased the computer, the purpose is to use the computer in the business to maintain the books of accounts of the company. Correct? Right? If it is an office building, the purpose is to use the office building in the business for the purpose, for the administrative purposes. But if an asset or a group of asset is held for sale, whether the purpose is to use into the business.
No.
अगर पर्पस बिजनेस में यूज करने का ही होता तो वो तो पीपी था ना, फिर 105 क्यों चाहिए था? Why 105 was required? If the purpose was to use in the business, if the purpose was to receive the future economic benefit from the use in the business, then PP standard was there. Then intangible asset standard was there. Investment property standard was there. Correct? Then why Ind AS 105? Because the purpose is not to get the future economic benefit through use. The purpose is to get the future economic benefit through
Sale.
through sale, right? It is not through use, it is through sale. So what is the difference between the future economic benefit expected from a PP and expected from a non-current asset held for sale? From PP, the future economic benefit is expected from use. And for held for sale, non-current asset held for sale, the future economic benefit is to receive from sale. Okay. And my dear friends, a non-current asset held for sale or a disposal group held for sale is those asset or group of asset where carrying amount, मतलब जो बैलेंस शीट में आ रहा है, जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में आ रहा है, वो कैसे रिकवर होगा? वो सेल करके रिकवर होगा, यूज करके रिकवर नहीं होगा. Why? Because the intent is not to use, the intent is to sell. Okay. So carrying amount is principally recovered through a sale transaction, not through the continuing use. Remember my example of TCS, who had purchased the car from Maruti. Okay. Is that clear?
The sale amount can be lower than its carrying value.
Sale amount can be lower than its carrying value. Sale amount can be higher than its carrying value. Sale amount can be equal to the carrying value. Okay. If sale amount will be lower than the carrying value, it is a loss. If sale amount will be higher than the carrying value, it is profit. If sale amount is equal to carrying value, no profit, no loss. Okay. प्रिंसिपली रिकवर्ड का मतलब ये नहीं कि वो अमाउंट पूरा का पूरा कैरिंग अमाउंट रिकवर होगा. प्रिंसिपली रिकवर्ड का मतलब जो भी है उसे जो भी मिलना है वो सेल करके ही मिलना है. करेक्ट? राइट? लेट मी राइट हियर द अमाउंट recovered may be equal to, lower than, or higher than the carrying value. Okay, note. Fine. So let me take you back to the presentation again. My dear friends, many important aspects we have understood so far. We have understood what is the objective of Ind AS 105. We have understood which kind of asset will come under Ind AS 105. We have understood a non-current asset, once classified as held for sale, become a current asset. We understood we are going to talk about three aspects: individual asset held for sale, group of asset held for sale, and discontinued operations, right? We understood the objective of individual asset held for sale or group of asset held for sale, it is to receive the future economic benefit through sale, not through the use. Okay, मतलब use नहीं करना, sell करना है. Okay, so we understood these aspects. Now friends, if I talk about Ind AS 105, the classification and presentation requirement of this Ind AS applies to all recognized non-current assets and to all disposal group of an entity, right? मैंने पहले ही आपको बताया ये किस पे अप्लाई होगा. ऑल रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, बैलेंस शीट में ऑलरेडी रिकॉग्नाइज हो चुका है नॉन करंट एसेट, अगर वो हेल्ड फॉर सेल होगा देन दिस Ind AS 105 विल बी एप्लीकेबल. ओके, इफ एन एसेट विच इज अ नॉन करंट एसेट as per the balance sheet, if the asset is a non-current asset in the books of accounts and once the non-current asset will become held for sale, then this Ind AS 105 will be applicable. Okay, and to all disposal group of an entity. So it talks about individual as well as group of assets. Okay, the measurement requirement of this Ind AS applies to all recognized non-current asset and disposal group except for scoped out asset. My dear friends, this standard applies, I mean to say the measurement requirement. The classification and presentation requirement of Ind AS 105 is applicable to all asset and disposal group if it is held for sale. But the measurement requirement, this standard has its own recognition requirement, measurement requirement. So the measurement requirement of this Ind AS applies to all recognized non-current asset when it becomes held for sale or disposal group except few assets. कुछ scoped out asset है, कौन से? Like inventory. सर इन्वेंट्री तो करंट एसेट है, फिर इन्वेंट्री क्यों बोला आपने? यस, इन्वेंट्री की तो बात ही खत्म है. इन्वेंट्री इज अ करंट एसेट. डेफर्ड टैक्स एसेट, you are de-recognizing deferred tax asset, right? If your deferred tax asset is a non-current asset, right? So this deferred tax asset measurement is covered as per Ind AS 12. Asset arising from employee benefit, financial asset, biological asset, right? Insurance contract asset. So these assets, if these assets are part of the disposal group or these are the non-current asset, if it is de-recognized, held for sale, then the measurement requirement of Ind AS 105 is not applicable. Ind AS, respective Ind AS measurement requirement is applicable. My dear friends, if I'll summarize, this standard is applicable to largely 4 assets. Number 1, PPE. Number 2, intangible asset. Number 3, investment property. Number 4, goodwill arising in business combination. So this standard is applicable largely to 4 assets when it becomes held for sale: PP, investment property, intangible asset, goodwill. Okay. So friends, the asset is classified as non-current in accordance with Ind AS 1. So who has the authority of classifying current and non-current? Current and non-current का guidance कहाँ दिया हुआ है?
Conceptual
Schedule
framework.
Sorry. Schedule 3, okay.
Conceptual framework.
Conceptual framework, okay.
Ind AS 1.
Ind AS 1, very good. Para 66. Ind AS 1. So while Schedule 3 में भी दिया है, but if I talk about the Indian accounting standard, Ind AS, so Ind AS 1 is the authority which talks about what is current, what is non-current. Okay. Ind AS 1 defines what is current, what is non-current. So the asset classified as non-current in accordance with Ind AS 1, like for example, PP, investment property, intangible asset. So these have been classified as non-current asset in Ind AS 1. Okay. It shall not be reclassified as current. मैंने आपको बताया था ना, if a non-current asset will become held for sale, it will become a current asset. Correct? I've told you, na? I've told you. Yeah. So when TCS purchased the car, it was PP. It was a non-current asset. But when it decided to sell the car, it will become a current asset. And a separate line item will come like non-current asset held for sale. Non-current asset held for sale. So an asset classified as non-current in accordance with Ind AS 1 shall not be reclassified as current asset until and unless they meet the criteria to be classified as held for sale. Until and unless they meet the criteria to be classified as held for sale. They meet the criteria to be classified as held for sale. Sir, what is the criteria of held for sale? कहाँ दिया है held for sale का criteria? कहाँ पे दिया है?
Ind AS 105 में.
Ind AS 105 में दिया है. Okay. So the criteria is given under Ind AS 105. Sir, who will tell us the criteria of Ind AS 105? कौन बताएगा? मैं बताऊंगा. Right? Sir, कब बताओगे? After 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. So before that, let me show you one practical balance sheet so that I can show you that practically this non-current asset held for sale has to be shown under current asset as a separate line item. दिखाऊं मैं आपको balance sheet? Shall I show you that balance sheet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You all are eagerly waiting for that balance sheet. So let me open the balance sheet of Ultratech Cement. You guys will be happy to see that balance sheet. And please confirm if my screen is visible, whether my screen is visible. Can you see this Ultratech Cement balance sheet?
Yes.
Okay. Let me take you to the balance sheet. This is the annual report of Ultratech Cements. I hope the balance sheet is visible now. Balance sheet is visible?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Can you see in this balance sheet non-current asset? You can see this company has a non-current asset of 46,993 crores. Total non-current asset 57,000 crores. Then there is a current assets, and you can see PP, CWIP, right of use asset, goodwill, other intangible asset. These all are under non-current assets, right? So under current asset, can you see a line item below the current asset, non-current asset classified as held for sale? Can you see this line item? 9.45 crores. दिख रहा है आपको? Right?
Yes,
तो
sir.
ये सब कहां से आया है? ये non-current asset classified as held for sale क्या है? These non-current asset classified as held for sale are nothing. These are the PP which has been held for sale. ये जो PP यहां से निकलकर कुछ आइटम यहां पे आ गई. क्यों आ गई? सर अभी भी this company has 38,270 crores PP. हाँ, अभी भी इस कंपनी के पास 38,270 करोड़ का पीपी है, क्योंकि ये कंपनी तो रनिंग कंपनी है ना. इनके पास अपने सीमेंट प्लांट है, फैक्ट्री है, मशीनरीज हैं. ओके, बट कुछ एसेट इन्होंने हेल्ड फॉर सेल कर दी है, राइट? एंड दैट इज व्हाई ओनली 9.45 करोड़ कम्स अंडर हेल्ड फॉर सेल. सबको क्लियर हो गया है? So an asset classified as non-current will not be classified as current, will not be reclassified as current until and unless it will meet the held for sale criteria. Sir, कब meet करेगा held for sale criteria? हम अभी डिस्कस करेंगे.
सर
Okay?
ये एक तरह से नॉन करंट का क्लासिफिकेशन ही होगा ना?
नॉन करंट का क्लासिफिकेशन होगा मतलब
नॉन करंट एसेट में से कुछ पार्ट हेल्ड फॉर सेल रख दिया.
यस यस यस, यू आर राइट. सो जैसे इसमें भी क्या था, इन दिस कंपनी it was a non-current asset, right? But few of the asset have been classified as held for sale, right? And hence they have to be shown as a current asset. Yes, Abrakesh.
Sir, in this balance sheet, NCFH has been shown after the wording total current assets. So it is between total of current assets and total assets. It's not, I mean, so within the current assets.
So Abrakesh, what are the two classifications of any balance sheet? So what are the classification under which the line item of the balance sheet has to be classified? Current and non-current. यही होता है ना, liabilities को भी current non-current में bifurcate करते हैं, assets को भी करते हैं, right?
Yes.
Right, Abrakesh?
Yes, sir.
So if you see any balance sheet, just open the Reliance Industries balance sheet, one of the India's largest balance sheet. You will find every asset either current or non-current, right? If it has to be, I understand that this is a separate line item, but if it should not be a part of the current asset, तो फिर इसको non-current की total के नीचे क्यों नहीं दिया? इसको current के नीचे क्यों दिया? Right? So basically, it is a presentation, right? They want to clarify that this is an item which has come from non-current and now it become current, right? So when I will go deeper into the standard, जब मैं आपको और recognition criteria पढ़ाऊंगा, held for sale पढ़ाऊंगा, you will be able to understand that this standard talks about the sale within 12 months, right? जब मैं आपको आगे criteria पढ़ाऊंगा तो आपको पता लगेगा कि ये standard बात करता है कि an asset will become held for sale when it is able to sell within 12 months. Means this standard talks about less than 12 months. Okay.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Yes,
So
sir.
what PP का definition क्या था जब मैंने आपको पढ़ाया था? The PP definition was it has to be used for more than 1 year, more than one period, correct?
Yes.
So तभी तो आप उसको depreciation, amortization करते हो ना, PP intangible asset.
Yes,
But
yes.
when I'm talking about non-current asset held for sale, I am talking about less than 12 months position. I'm talking about less than 1 year, up to 1 year position. Okay. So while the line item is different, it has to be shown separately, but it has been shown under current asset. नहीं तो non-current के नीचे भी तो दे सकते थे ना,
That's true, sir.
right? So ये वाली जगह क्यों चुनी गई? Otherwise तो सबसे अच्छी जगह थी नॉन करंट का टोटल, then show it this item, then start the current. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So again, standard is saying that asset of a class that an entity would normally regard as non-current, which are acquired exclusively with a view to resale, shall not be reclassified as current until and unless it meet the held for sale criteria. Standard says that if an entity is acquiring an asset with the purpose of resale, for example, Vignesh has 50 lakh rupees, right? As a surplus fund, he has 50 lakh rupees. So he got to know that, in his neighborhood, a building was getting sold out at it was a distress sale. The market value of the building was 75 lakh and the seller is ready to sell it 50 lakh rupees, right? So Vignesh don't want that building, but when Vignesh find out that, oh, this building is getting sold at 50 lakh rupees, the market value is 75 lakh rupees. So Vignesh has purchased that building for the purpose of resale. Vignesh's business is not to resell the building. Vignesh has purchased the building for the purpose of resale, and Vignesh told that I will do some renovation and then I will sell this building. Okay. So this asset was acquired exclusively with a view to resell. Normally the building which is acquired by Vignesh and it was not an inventory. So what is the nature of that building in the books of Vignesh? PP or investment property, right? But this was acquired with a view to resell. So normally it is a non-current asset. Standard says that if an asset has been acquired with a view to resell, it will not be reclassified to current until and unless it meet the held for sale criteria. Sir, what is the held for sale criteria we're going to talk about? Okay. So disposal group, individual non-current asset we discussed. The term refers, this non-current asset held for sale refers to an individual asset as well as group of assets. Okay. An individual non-current asset is regarded as held for sale if its carrying amount will be recovered principally through a sale transaction rather than through continuing use. Disposal group is a group of assets to be disposed of together as a single transaction, together with liabilities directly associated with those assets that will be transferred in the transaction. The disposal group includes goodwill acquired in business combination also if the group is a cash generating unit. In the last class, you remember when we were doing the impairment, allocation of impairment loss of the cash generating unit, we were hitting the goodwill first, right? So a cash generating unit will have a goodwill also. This may have a goodwill also, right? So this group of asset, disposal group asset may have a goodwill. Okay. Now the time has come when I will talk about the recognition criteria, means held for sale criteria. Okay. So friends, again, I am revising whatever I have told you so far. This standard refers to a non-current asset which is classified as held for sale. Okay. This standard refers three kind of transaction. Number one, an individual asset held for sale, which is known as an NCA HFS, non-current asset held for sale. Number two, group of asset held for sale, which is known as a disposal group held for sale. And number three is the discontinued operations. For an individual asset to be covered under Ind AS 105, that individual asset should always be a non-current asset. For a group of asset, for a disposal group, this group may be a combination of current asset, non-current asset, as well as liabilities. But at least one asset in the group should be a non-current asset. Once an asset or disposal group will be classified as held for sale, it has to be shown as a separate line item below the current asset. Okay, under the current asset. Right? How the future economic benefit will be received from a group of asset or individual asset, NCHFS or DGHFS. The NCHFS and DGHFS future economic benefit will be received through a sale transaction, not through the continuing use. Okay, not through the continuing use. If an asset has been classified as non-current, it will not be reclassified as current until and unless it meets the held for sale criteria. Right? Now, what is the held for sale criteria? Let's discuss. An entity shall classify a non-current asset, NCA HFS, or disposal group, DGHFS, as held for sale. An entity shall classify an individual asset or group of asset as held for sale if its carrying amount will be recovered principally through a sale transaction rather than through the continuing use, and asset or disposal group must be available for immediate sale in the present condition, and sale must be highly probable. An individual asset or group of asset has to be classified as held for sale if two conditions will met. If two conditions will met. What are those two conditions? Number one, ISPC. Number one is ISPC. What is the full form of ISPC? ISPC. What is the full form of ISPC?
Immediate sale in present condition.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Internet Service Provider Company. Okay. Internet Service Provider Company. And what is the full form of HP? What is the full form of HP?
Hindustan Petroleum.
Hindustan Petroleum. Very good. Very good. Yes. ये आपको याद रहेगा एग्जाम तक? Internet Service Provider Company and Hindustan Petroleum. So on a lighter side, ISPC means Internet Service Provider Company and HP means Hindustan Petroleum. But what is the technical full form of it, ISPC and HP? The full form of ISPC is what Pooja told. Immediate sale in present condition and highly probable. Okay. ISPC, immediate sale in present condition and highly probable. Right. So the first recognition condition is ISPC, immediate sale in present condition, right? An asset or a group of asset will be classified as held for sale. Number one, if the future economic benefit, if the objective is to sell the asset, not to use the asset. Number two, if two conditions will be satisfied, that asset or group of asset will be classified as held for sale. If two conditions will be satisfied, that asset or group of asset will be classified as held for sale. Sir, what are those two conditions? Condition number one, ISPC. Condition number two, HP. Sir, what is ISPC? That asset or group of asset has to be, asset or group of asset has to be available for, that asset or group of asset has to be available for immediate sale in present condition. Immediate sale in present condition. Immediate sale in present condition. Let me explain you with the help of an example. I have a building and that building consists of 4 floors. That building consists of 4 floors. I want to sell my 4th floor. And I put the for sale board on my 4th floor. So Sumit came to me and Sumit asked, sir, I have seen that you want to sell your 4th floor. I am in search of a floor. I want to buy a flat. So will you be able to sell this floor? I told Sumit that Sumit, I am ready to sell this floor, but I will sell that floor only when my 5th floor will get constructed. So the construction is going on. The construction is just started. I will sell my 4th floor only when my 5th floor construction will get over. When my 5th floor will get ready. When my 5th floor will get constructed. Now, I'm asking you 2 questions. Hear that 2 questions carefully and answer this accordingly. Question number 1. Question number 1. Whether that 4th floor is available for sale. Question number 2. Whether that 4th floor is available for immediate sale in present condition. Please answer on the chat box. Uppercase is saying for question number 1, yes. For question number 2, no. Again, I am repeating my question. Whether that 4th floor is available for sale. Question number 2. Whether that 4th floor is available for immediate sale in present condition. Question number 1, whether that 4th floor is available for sale. Sale के लिए तो available है ना? I have told that this is available for sale. मैं बेचना तो चाहता हूं. I want to sell. I am ready to sell. But I will sell only when my 5th floor construction will get completed. It means I am ready to sell. But it is not available for sale in the present condition. आज की हालत में सेल के लिए अवेलेबल नहीं है. सेल के लिए तो अवेलेबल है, but it is not available for immediate sale. Immediate sale के लिए अवेलेबल नहीं है in the present condition. It is not available for immediate sale in the present condition, right? Not available for immediate sale in the present condition. It is not available for immediate sale in the present condition. Okay. Present condition में sale के लिए available नहीं है. Okay. Understood? So have you understood the difference between available for sale and available for immediate sale in present condition? Yeah. Example number 2. I have a factory and I want to sell my factory. Okay, I want to sell my factory. So Pooja came to me and she asked that, sir, I want to buy your factory. I told Pooja that, yes, I want to sell my factory and, I will sell my factory only because I have a backlog of customer orders. I have some backlog of customer order and the production cycle will take 6 months. So while now I have stopped taking the new orders, but whatever orders, the pending order is in hand. It will take another 6 months to complete that order. So I will sell this factory only when my orders will get completed. Right? When my order will get completed. My question is whether this factory is available for sale. Question number 2, whether this factory is available for immediate sale in present condition. What is your answer?
Available for sale, but not in present condition.
Available for sale, yes, but not available in immediate, but not available for immediate sale in present condition, right? Right? Then Anila came to me and she has given me advice. She told me that, sir, why don't you sell your factory with the pending orders? You can tell me who is your customer. You can give me the order details. I will complete this backlog. I will transfer these orders to the customers. I will complete the backlog, complete the production and will deliver your order to the buyers. Whatever profit you are going to make, I will give you that profit also. Okay. So I got convinced with Anila that, okay, please buy my factory. Please purchase my factory along with the pending orders. Now my question is whether this factory is available for immediate sale in present condition.
Yes.
यस, बिकॉज जो कंडीशन है उस कंडीशन में बेचने के लिए तैयार हूं मैं. सो आई एम रेडी टू सेल माई फैक्ट्री. I am ready to sell my factory in the present condition. This is available for immediate sale in the present condition. I am ready to sell my factory in the present condition. Right? Right? So friends, this available for immediate sale in present condition is highly important. Is highly important. Right? Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. So the asset or the disposal group must be available for immediate sale in present condition, and the sale must be highly probable. That is, management must be committed to that sale or disposal. The sale cannot be classified as held for sale. The asset or disposal group cannot be classified as held for sale if the entity intends to sell it in a distant future. Right? पता नहीं कब तक कंस्ट्रक्शन खत्म होगी, पता नहीं कब तक ऑर्डर कंप्लीट होगा. ओके, सो not immediately. If it is in distant future, it cannot be classified as held for sale. It has to be ISPC. It has to be available for immediate sale in present condition. It has to be available for immediate sale in present condition. Right? So when a non-current asset will be classified as held for sale? When two conditions will be met, ISPC and HP. ISPC means available for immediate sale in present condition. Okay. Sir, to qualify for classification as held for sale, it must be available for immediate sale in present condition, subject only to the terms that are usual and customary for sale of such asset or disposal group. Right? What is meant by available for immediate sale in present condition? इसका मतलब क्या है? For example, if I am ready to sell my fourth floor immediately, some tenant are living in my fourth floor. Does it mean the moment the buyer is ready to purchase my house, does it mean that I'll start throwing the belongings on that fourth floor from the balcony? क्या इसका ये मतलब है कि मैं सारा सामान तुरंत ही खाली करना स्टार्ट कर दूंगा? Answer is it may take a usual and customary time. Right? Normally जब आप बिल्डिंग सेल परचेज करते हो, you enter into an agreement to sell. You get the registry done. Okay, it will take around 1 month, 2 months. Okay, so the asset, I mean to say, the asset or this group of asset must be available for immediate sale in present condition, subject to the terms that are usual and customary for sale of such assets. For example, I have told that my tenant are living in that house. So there is a notice of 2 months. Okay. While you can enter into an agreement to sell and you can start your formalities, it will take 1 or 1.5 months. And my tenant will vacate this house in the another 1 or 1.5 months because they have to search for another property. Okay. Or I have to give them notice also. So that is okay. That is okay. Right.
Yes, sir. It's like a notice period.
It's like a notice period. This is taken to mean that an entity currently has the intention and ability. Sir, how will we check whether this asset is available for immediate sale in present condition? So for that, again, two conditions should be satisfied. What are those two conditions? The intention and ability should be there. The intention and ability. For example, when I wanted to sell my fourth floor, and I told that I will sell my fourth floor only when my fifth floor will get constructed. In that case, do I have an intention to sell immediately? Whether I had an intention to sell immediately? क्या मेरी intention थी immediately sell करने की?
No.
No. But whether I have an ability to sell immediately? अगर मैं चाहता तो क्या कर सकता था?
Yes.
Ability to thi, because that asset belongs to me. So I have a ability, but I don't have an intention to sell immediately, right? So to be classified as immediately available for immediate sale in the present condition, there has to be intent and ability both. Second example. Mr. Ram has purchased a plot. In the neighborhood, right? And Mr. Ram wants to sell this plot. Their neighbor has put a stay in the court. Their neighbor has, litigated that plot and court has put a stay on that plot. Okay. Now Mr. Ram is desperately wants to sell this plot. Whether Mr. Ram has an intention to sell, whether Mr. Ram has an intention to sell immediately in the present condition,
Yes.
whether Mr. Ram has the ability to sell.
No,
No. Why?
because of that legal proceedings pending.
Because of that proceedings, because of that legal proceedings, because of the court has put a stay, right? So intention is there, but ability is not there, right? So to be classified as available for ISPC, available for immediate sale in present condition, intention and ability both should be there. Intention and ability both should be there. Correct? Friends, now have you understood the difference between available for sale and available for immediate sale in present condition? Have you understood? Available for immediate sale in present condition means that the parties have an intention and ability, not or ability. Intention and ability both to sell the asset immediately. Okay? To sell the asset immediately. Great. Absolutely great. Right. So friends, before moving to the next criteria, which is sale is highly probable, let me discuss few examples. Yes. An entity is committed to a plan to sell its headquarters and has initiated an action to find a buyer. The entity intends to transfer the building to a buyer after it vacates the building. The entity intends to transfer the building to a buyer after it vacates the building. ठीक है, मैं आपको दे दूंगा, पर मुझे इसको खाली करनी पड़ेगी. And the time to vacate is normal. Tell me whether the ISPC condition is meeting or not meeting.
Yes, available for immediate
Yes,
sale.
it is available for immediate sale in present condition. Situation number 2. The entity will continue to use the building until a new headquarter is built. The building will not be transferred until construction is completed. ISPC meeting or not meeting?
Not meeting.
Not meeting. Yes. So the delay demonstrated the building is not available for immediate sale in present condition, and thus the criteria is not met even if a firm purchase commitment has already been entered into. An entity is committed to a plan to sell a manufacturing facility, a factory, and has initiated action to locate a buyer. But there is a customer backlog. There is a backlog of customer order. The entity intends to sell the factory with its operations, and any uncompleted orders will transfer to the buyer.
Available for immediate sale.
Whether ISPC condition is meeting or not meeting?
Meeting.
Meeting, yes. The entity wants to sell the manufacturing facility with its operations, and any uncompleted order will transfer to the buyer, means buyer ही उसको complete करेगा. Second situation, the entity wants to sell the factory but without its operation, and it does not intend to transfer it until it eliminates the backlog of the customer order.
Not meeting.
Not meeting.
ISPC not meeting. Okay. ISPC not meeting. Okay, friends, now discuss the second part. HP, Hindustan Petroleum. Highly probable, sir. The asset is available for immediate sale in present condition, means intention and ability is there. Intention is there, ability is there. But can we say that this asset is held for sale? Standard says that for classifying an asset as a held for sale, intention and ability is not sufficient. The sale must be highly probable as well. The sale must be highly probable as well. Sir, what is meant by highly probable? What is meant by probable? Probable means more likely than not. Probable means more likely than not. More than 50% chances. What is meant by highly probable? Highly probable means significantly more likely than not. मतलब almost 90% chances है कि सेल हो जाएगी. Probable का मतलब 50% से ज्यादा chances. इसमें 90% से ज्यादा chances. Okay. Sale is highly probable when few conditions will be satisfied. Sale is highly probable when few conditions will be satisfied. Okay. What are those conditions? What are those conditions? Management committed to a plan to sell the asset. Management committed to a plan to sell the asset. And when I will discuss these conditions, you will find that ISPC shows the intention and ability. ISPC, immediate sale in present condition, it shows the intent and ability, intention and ability. While HP, highly probable, this condition shows the execution, efforts and documentation regarding the effort towards the actual sale. ISPC आपकी इंटेंशन और एबिलिटी बताता है. जो HP वाले क्राइटेरिया हैं ये क्या बताते हैं? एफर्ट्स और डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बताते हैं. It shows the efforts and documentation regarding the actual sale. Okay. So friends, sale is highly probable when management is committed to a plan to sell the asset. Management is committed to a plan to sell the asset. And let me narrate these conditions with the help of an example, with the help of a story. So, who is pursuing his or her articleship? Who is pursuing his articleship? Anyone who is pursuing the articleship right now? Any student who is pursuing his articleship? No one? Any student who is pursuing his articleship? Whether you all have completed your articleship? Okay, Rahul. Rahul is saying, sir, I am pursuing my articleship. Okay. Let's take an example of Rahul. So Rahul's principal, Rahul's boss has given him a task that you have to go for an audit of a listed company. So Rahul went to the head office to audit for the listed company. And he found that company, when this company has given him a balance sheet, he found that in the balance sheet, there was an asset held for sale. Okay, non-current asset held for sale. He started auditing the non-current asset held for sale. So he asked the finance manager, do you have an intention and ability to sell this asset? The finance manager told, yes, Rahul, this asset belongs to us. We have the ownership of this asset. Okay. So we have the ability and we have the intent also. We want to sell this asset. We have an intent also. You can see we want to sell this factory and we have already started moving to the new factory. So we have the intent also and we have the ability also. Rahul said, okay. So it means the asset is available for immediate sale in present condition. But the point is, whether sale is highly probable. Then the finance manager is asking, Rahul, what is meant by sale is highly probable? So Rahul said, okay, I'll ask some question. You need to answer my question. The first question Rahul has asked, whether your company, your management is committed to a plan to sell the asset. Whether your management is committed to a plan to sell the asset. Whether your management is committed to sell the asset. So the finance manager asked that, Rahul, how can I know about that whether management is committed while I am aware that we are committed? But how to prove this? So Rahul told, show me the board minutes. Normally what happened, if any non-current asset is getting derecognized or sold out, it has to be approved in the board meeting. So whether your management has approved this in the board meeting, he said, yes. In the last meeting, the board has approved that we need to sell this factory. Rahul said, okay. Management is committed to a plan to sell the asset. Rahul said, okay, I will check your board minutes and I will ensure that. Second question Rahul has asked, whether active program to locate a buyer has been started. Have you started searching buyer? The finance manager told, yes, sir, you can see that. You can see that we have already listed this property in our magicbrick.com, proptiger.com, and we have also listed this in the newspaper. We have also given advertisement in newspaper. We have listed this on our website, right? And we have also given the task to our brokers and dealers, right? So Rahul said, okay. Third question Rahul asked. What is the price you are quoting for the sale of this factory, for the sale of this building? Whether your price is reasonable in relation to market value. क्या आपने जो market value चल रही वही price रखा है उससे कहीं ज्यादा रखा है? Finance manager told that yes, we have kept a price which is in line with the market value, right? Which is in line with the market value. For example, the market value is 100 crores and we are asking 105 crores. So this is the asking price. And of course, whenever the buyer will come, there is a negotiation on the table. So Rahul said, okay. So it means the price is also in relation to the market value. The price is also in line with the market value. Then Rahul has asked, do you expect that your asset will be actually sold out within 1 year from the date of classification as held for sale? So then Rahul told, yes, we are committed. We have already started searching buyer. Our price is reasonable, right? And with all these efforts, we expect that we will be able to conclude this actual sale within 1 year. Okay, Rahul said, okay. Then fifth question Rahul has asked. Is there any chance where you will drop your plan to sell? Actions required to complete the plan indicate that it is unlikely that the plan will be changed. So finance manager told that, Mr. Rahul, you are coming to audit this company since last 5 years. Okay. So you have seen that whatever we are committing, we are not withdrawing from our commitment. Number 2, we want to sell this factory and we have already started relocating to the new factory. Then why we will change our plan? Okay. So fifth question was whether it is likely that your plan will be changed. Finance manager is saying no, it is unlikely that our plan will change. And this is evident by our actions. And what is our action? We have already started relocating to the new factory. Okay. So friends, these are the 5 conditions. If these 5 conditions will be satisfied, then you can say that the sale is highly probable. Okay. Sale should be expected to qualify for a recognition as a complete sale within 1 year from the date of classification, subject to event outside entities control. Just leave that part for the time being. So friends, it is like a judgmental, it is like a subjective criteria, right? Whether management believe that the management will be able to sell that property within 1 year from the date of classification. क्या date of classification के 1 साल के अंदर बेच पाएंगे, right? So management believes that yes, management will be able to sell that asset in the near future, which is less than 1 year. Okay. Friends, let me take you to the Excel file again and let me summarize this entire aspect. Okay.
Sir, in total, can we say that the deal is into the final stages?
Yes, you can say that. So when a non-current asset will be classified as held for sale, a non-current asset will be classified as held for sale when 2 criteria will be meeting. What are those 2 criteria? ISPC, HP. What is ISPC? Available for immediate sale in present condition. Okay. Available for immediate sale in present condition. And what this condition reveals? This condition shows the availability for sale. Which is depending on the intent and ability. Right? Intent and ability. What is meant by HP? HP का मतलब क्या है? And HP. What is meant by HP? Highly probable. Sale is highly probable. This condition shows the effort and documentation regarding the actual sale. Effort and documentation regarding the actual sale. Effort and documentation regarding the actual sale. Okay. Okay, friends. Fine. Is that fine? So sale is highly probable. What is the meaning of sale is highly probable? Management must be committed to a plan to sell. Searching a buyer has been initiated. Reasonable price quoted. likely to complete the sale within 1 year, unlikely that the plan will be changed in future. Unlikely that the plan will be changed in future. Okay. Fine. Now there is an exception given. Sir, what happens if the company will not be able to sell within 1 year? तो क्या होगा? अगर कंपनी 1 साल के अंदर नहीं बेच पाएगी तो क्या होगा? What will happen if the company will not be able to sell within 1 year? Correct? Correct. So standard has given you exception to 1 year rule. What is the exception to 1 year rule? What is the exception to 1 year rule? Standard says that even though if the company will not be able to sell within 1 year, right? Even though if the sale period will go beyond 1 year, still the company will continue to classify that asset as held for sale under current asset criteria, under current asset category, in two circumstances. Right? Circumstances number 1. Unexpected circumstances delayed the sale or disposal of asset or disposal group held for sale. First of all, the exception to 1 year rule will apply only when the delay is outside the control of the entity. Number 1, unexpected circumstances has delayed the sale or disposal of asset held for sale or disposal of group of asset held for sale. For example, natural calamities, right? The entity was very sure that the entity will be able to sell the asset, but in between COVID has come. And due to the COVID, there was a national lockdown, right? There was a national lockdown due to the COVID. Friends, whether this COVID was within the entity's control, whether this COVID was in the control of the entity?
No, sir.
No. Whether this COVID has delayed the entire process? Whether
Yes.
this COVID has delayed the entire process? Answer is yes. This COVID has delayed the entire process, right? And this COVID was not within the control of the entity, right? So in such cases, even though it may go beyond 1 year, still it will continue to classify as held for sale. Number 2, situation number 2. Unexpected condition imposed by buyer or third party after the firm purchase commitment is obtained. After the firm purchase commitment is obtained. First of all, what is meant by firm purchase commitment? Firm purchase commitment means binding agreement. Binding agreement. I have a factory. I want to sell my factory. I have intention and ability. Sale is highly probable also. So I was very sure that I will be able to sell within 1 year. And even in 3 months time, I got a buyer. And I have entered into an agreement to sell with the buyer. Sale agreement bhi ho gaya. Price decide ho gaya. Sale agreement ho gaya. There is a binding agreement. Means if any of the party will walk out from the contract, if any of the party will breach the contract, that party will be able to bear the penalty. Okay, that party will bear the penalty. So it was a binding agreement. Okay. So after 2 months of the agreement, the buyer told that, you are running this factory since 2 decades, since so many years. And, I want you to sell this. I want you to clean this entire factory before I will take the position of this factory. I want you to clean the entire factory. I told the buyer that, Mr. Buyer, if I will start cleaning this factory, it will take another 1.5 years. Buyer told, okay, no problem. No problem. You can shut down your plant. You can clean your factory. I will pay you that price. No problem. Okay. So buyer has told me that I have to clean that factory and it will take another 1.5 years. And after that, the registry will happen. So friends, how does it matter? अगर बाइंडिंग अग्रीमेंट हो गया, बायर मुझे कह रहा है ये काम करके दो, तो ठीक है, मैं वो काम करके दे दूंगा. Correct? So if some unexpected condition imposed by the buyer or the third party related to the buyer after the binding agreement has been entered. So in this case, the basic condition is binding agreement must be there, right? So binding agreement होने के बाद buyer की wish पे अगर मैं delay हो रहा है तो no problem at all, right? Okay. In such circumstances, asset or disposal group will be still classified as held for sale. It will be still classified as held for sale. Correct? सही है? So what is the exception to 1 year rule? What is the exception to 1 year rule? Exception to 1 year rule is exceptions to 1 year rule. Exceptions to 1 year. What is my exceptions to 1 year rule? It is due to circumstances beyond entity's control plus firm purchase commitment has been entered if it is the delay is due to the buyer. Number one, what is the condition number one? Due to the delay must be due to the circumstances outside the entity's control plus firm purchase agreement plus firm purchase agreement. What is my firm purchase agreement? Binding agreement in case delay is from the buyer side. Delay is from the buyer side or delay is due to the wish of the buyer, right? So this is exception to 1 year rule. Okay, friends. So now let me take some examples and then Pooja, I'll come to you. Then I'll solve your query. So let me discuss some examples now. So this is what we discussed. This case study we discussed. This we discussed. Example number 6 and 7 from ICAI study material. At the end of the reporting period, ABC Company's Board of Directors has approved a plan to sell a non-current asset. So management is committed. The eventual disposal requires approval by a majority of the company's shareholder through a formal vote, which will take place after the reporting period. This disposal will also require some majority of the shareholder approval. At the end of the reporting period, a majority of the company's shareholders have provided the company with signed irrevocable agreement stating that they will vote in favor of the disposal. So reporting date पे कुछ majority shareholder ने sign करके भी दे दिया कि हम तो favor में vote करेंगे. The highly probable test is met because the shareholders have irrevocably committed to approving the transaction and therefore the vote by the transaction shareholder is merely a formality. The question is, you will say that, oh, when the AGM will come, when the shareholder meeting will come, then shareholder, we don't know whether shareholder will vote in favor or whether the shareholder will vote in against, right? So if today, on the reporting date, if today the shareholder has already given an irrevocable consent that yes, we will vote in the favor, in that case, the AGM is just a formality, right? In that case, the AGM is just a formality and you can say that the sale is highly probable. The sale is highly probable. Okay. Okay. It means the approval will come from the shareholder. The management is committed to sell and the shareholder will also provide their approval. Okay. Right. Kejri Vidyut Limited, an energy sector company, is committed to selling one of its business lines. This requires regulatory approval. It could take, हो सकता है, it could take more than 12 months to obtain this approval. However, a firm purchase commitment must have been signed before approval can be obtained. Binding agreement be signed हो गया. The binding agreement has been signed because this is the normal kind of approval. So basically this is a procedural kind of aspect, right? But it is a government. So the government may take more than 12 months, right? So in the present case, the sale is highly probable within 1 year, right? The sale is highly probable within a year. Even though it will go beyond 1 year, the regulatory approval may take some time and it will go beyond 1 year. Still, it will be classified as held for sale. Okay. In this situation, the condition for an exception to 1 year limit would apply. As the sale is highly probable, it may be classified as held for sale, even though it extends beyond 1 year. Okay. It extends beyond 1 year. Is that right? Is that clear? An entity is committed to sell a factory. Another example, an entity is committed to sell a factory, but after a firm purchase commitment is obtained, the buyer's inspection identifies environmental damage that must be made good, and this will extend beyond 1 year. However, the entity has initiated appropriate procedure to repair the environmental damage and the sale remains highly probable. As the sale is highly probable, it can be classified as held for sale. Right? So friends, example number 8 and 10, this is the same example which I've already covered from the ICAI study material. Yes, any question on this? Students, any question on this? Pooja, you have the question?
सर उसमें कंडीशन जो आपने बताई थी कि 2 केस में 1 ईयर पीरियड से ज्यादा अगर एक्सटेंड होता है तो भी चलता है, एक्सेप्शन है. तो वो जो कंडीशन थी कि इट मस्ट बी unexpected circumstances which are imposed by buyer after firm purchase commitment is obtained. मतलब ये एग्रीमेंट एंटर करने के बाद में अगर बायर ने इनिशिएट की है तो ही ये चीज मिट होंगी, और अगर एग्रीमेंट के पहले अगर कोई कंडीशन रखी है तो इट इज नॉट अवेलेबल फॉर इमीडिएट सेल, ऐसे ट्रीट करेंगे ना.
You are right. So Pooja, just think about, right? Why the seller will listen to the buyer until and unless the agreement has not been entered. Let's say I am searching for a property. I am searching for a flat. I went to the property dealer. So property dealer took me to the owner of one of the property, right? So I went to see the flat. So when I was looking at the flat, I told the seller that, you know, I need this room, right? I need this wall should not be there in this room. This wall should be broken between these two rooms so that this room will become bigger. Do you think that the seller will listen me? मैं तो घर देखने गया हूं, तो क्या सेलर मेरी बात सुनेगा?
No.
But I have purchased the flat. I have entered into an agreement. I paid a token money of 25 lakh rupees. And it was a binding agreement that if I will breach the contract, my entire 25 lakh will be forfeited. So the buyer's 25 lakh will be forfeited, right? And I have requested the seller that Mr. Seller, I don't need this, you know, wall between the two rooms. Can you please remove this wall, right? Because you are into the same line of business and you will be able to do that, right? And I'm ready to pay you more. So the seller told yes, but the seller told, listen, it will take another 5-6 months. I told okay, right? So यहाँ पर buyer की side से, when it was a COVID or natural calamity, the concept was not firm purchase commitment. But whenever the delay is from the buyer side, the concept is binding agreement. Are you getting me? So आप practical life में सोचो ना, आप कोई आपकी बात क्यों सुनेगा जब तक आप कुछ पैसा नहीं दोगे? When you will not pay the token money, when you will not enter into an agreement, why that seller will listen to you? Not necessarily you will buy that property. आप तो देखने गए हो. I have to buy a house. And so far, I have seen around 50 properties. अभी तक मैंने final नहीं किया. I have seen more than 50 properties. If I went to the seller every time, all the owner of the 50 properties, तो मैं तो उन पूरे 50 के 50 घर की दीवार गिरा चुका होता. Correct?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yeah. Hemant is asking, sir, shareholder approval, is it required on all conditions? No, Hemant. So this was just an example. So ये example दिया गया है कि in case if the shareholder approval is required, means management is committed to sell the asset. So in that case, shareholder approval is also mandatory, right? in for example in a particular case, तो उस केस में क्या माना जाएगा management is committed? So in this example, in the last example, it was told that if the shareholder has given the consent, the only thing is they have to vote in the meeting, but they have given an irrevocable consent in writing. In that case, this AGM is only a formality. So you can say that management is committed to sell the asset, including shareholder, right? It is not required in every cases. Any other question? Abrakesh, do you have any question?
Sir, it is regarding initial part. May I ask?
Yeah, please.
Sir, you have given the example of Maruti. For them, cars are inventories. Now, suppose certain fleet of cars Maruti has kept for their business, office purpose.
Oh, PP. Then it is PP.
Then PP. And now, it has again become held for sale. In that, where do they classify as a current as an inventory, or that below the current non-current assets say or held for sale?
See, you have to see in this circumstances, you have to see two aspects. Number one, Maruti is into the business of selling new cars, right? Maruti is manufacturing and selling,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when Maruti is using the cars for its own business purposes,
Yes,
and one fine day Maruti decided to sell those old cars, right? It means it is a PPE which is classified as held for sale.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Yes, sir.
But if Maruti is into the business of the old cars, अगर मारुति ओल्ड कार के बिजनेस में ही होती, राइट,
True value.
मारुति अपनी यूज्ड कार को बेचना चाह रही है, then this PP will be classified to inventory, right?
Okay.
Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. जैसे मैंने याद है आपको बताया था, इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉपर्टी क्लासिफाइड टू इन्वेंट्री, क्लासिफाइड टू पीपी, तो जो उसकी कैरिंग वैल्यू होगी इसकी ओपनिंग वैल्यू बन जाएगी, राइट?
Yes.
सो यू हैव टू सी द सब्सटेंस, कि सब्सटेंस क्या है. मारुति तो कार को मैन्युफैक्चर करके बेचता है, यहां पर मारुति सेलिंग द ओल्ड कार. व्हाई? बिकॉज मारुति डज नॉट वांट्स टू यूज द कार, सो इट इज अ पीपी क्लासिफाइड एज हेल्ड फॉर सेल.
Yes, that logic I missed actually. Yes, I agree.
So friends, it's 8:38 now. Let's have a 10 minutes break and we will start our lecture at 8:48. Okay. Ashok ji, break. Friends, there is a concept of abandoned asset, right? So what is meant by abandoned asset? Anyone who belongs to Ludhiana in this group? Ludhiana, Panipat? Anyone? So in Ludhiana and Panipat, there are some woolen mills, right? Which are into the manufacturing woolen business, woolen clothes. So what happened? Let's say a company has 3 machines, okay? And these 3 machines are used for the manufacturing of woolen clothes. In the summer season, the demand of woolen clothes got declined. And in the winter season, the demand of woolen clothes got picked up, right? Now the question is, this demand for woolen clothes is declined in the summer season. So let's say the company has 5 machines and the company is packing those 3-4 machines. The company is wrapped those 3-4 machines and company will use those machines only when the demand will picked up, right? Or the company has packed the machine and company has kept the machine in godown. The company will reuse the machines only when the demand will picked up in the winter season. So these assets are known as abandoned asset. The standard clarifies that these assets are not treated as a held for sale asset. These assets are treated as an abandoned asset. Okay, these assets are treated as an abandoned asset. Okay, held for sale तो नहीं हो सकता ना. What is the first condition for held for sale? It should be ISPC. It should be available for immediate sale in present condition. But these machines are not even available for sale. Available for immediate sale तो बात की बात है. These are not even held available for immediate sale, available for sale. Okay, correct. So this is one of the clarification which is given in the standard, that a non-current asset or disposal group which is to be abandoned should not be classified as held for sale. Okay, is that clear? Because these assets has to be used in their economic life, into their lifetime, and these assets are not required to be sold. Okay, example. Entity ceases to use a manufacturing plant because demand has declined. However, the plant is maintained in a workable condition and it is expected to be brought back into use in future when demand picks up. It is neither to be treated as abandoned asset nor as held for sale because its carrying amount will be principally recovered through continuous use. Therefore, the entity will not stop charging depreciation or treat it as a held for sale, right? This is because its carrying amount will be recovered principally through continuing use till the end of its economic life. Okay. So friends, generally what happens when an asset, when a non-current asset will be classified as held for sale, right? So it will become a current asset because the entity is expecting that the sale will be completed within 1 year and hence the depreciation will stop. Okay. So the entity will not charge the depreciation on non-current asset held for sale. Right? Friends, let me show you one example of Ultratech Cements. So I believe this Ultratech Cement balance sheet is there on the screen. I believe it is there on the screen. I have shown you this non-current asset held for sale line item under the current asset. The note number is 52. This note number is 52. Okay. This is 52 note number. So let me show you the accounting policy also. And after looking at accounting policy, you need to tell me कि सुना सुना लग रहा है या सुना सुना लग रहा है. Is it something which is heard or is it something which is blank? You need to tell me. Can you see the accounting policy here? Can you see the accounting policy? Non-current assets or disposal group classified as held for sale. दिख रही है आपको accounting policy? Sumit, can you read this accounting policy? Please unmute your audio and read this accounting policy. Sumit, are you there?
Yes, sir. The company classifies the non-current assets as held for sale if their carrying amounts will be recovered principally through a sale transaction rather than through continuing use.
Hold on,
This
hold on.
condition is
Sumit, hold on. Yes. So have I told this definition? The company classifies non-current assets held for sale if their carrying amount will be principally recovered through sale transaction, not through the continuing use, right? I discussed this. Yes.
yes.
Okay. Now, please, yeah, Sumit, continue.
This condition is regarded as met only when the asset is available for immediate
What? Immediate?
sale.
Yes, immediate sale. आपने अपने आप ही fill in the blanks कर दिया. Very good. Immediate sale in its.
Present condition.
हाँ, please read. Please continue, Sumit.
Subject only to the terms that are usual and the customary for the sales of such asset, and the sale is highly probable.
Just hold on. Yes. Have I discussed this? The
Yes, sir.
asset has to be available for immediate sale in present condition, subject only to the terms that are usual and customary, because you are talking about non-current asset. ऐसा नहीं कि आपकी बिल्डिंग एक दिन में बिक जाएगी. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने आज बायर ढूंढा, एग्रीमेंट टू सेल किया और कल बिल्डिंग बिक गई. It has to take some time, okay? But it has to be usual and customary. ऐसा नहीं कि 1.5 साल के बाद बिल्डिंग ट्रांसफर होगी. It will take 1 month, it will take 40 days, it will take 30 days, right? So in the question, it will be written that it is a normal time, it is a usual time, okay? And the sale is highly probable, okay? Yeah, please continue, Sumit.
Such assets or the group of assets and the liabilities are presented separately in the balance sheet. In the line item, the asset disposal group held for sale, and the liabilities included in the disposal group held for sale.
Yeah, hold on, Sumit. Yes. So this individual asset held for sale, if it is a NCHFS or disposal group held for sale, has to be shown separately in the face of the balance sheet, on the face of the balance sheet. It will come under the current asset side. But if it is a disposal group held for sale, मैंने आपको बताया था, in disposal group held for sale, it will include the combination of current asset and non-current asset and liabilities as well, right? The disposal group may have a liabilities, okay? May have a liabilities. So when it is a liability, it has to be shown as a liability relating to the disposal group held for sale, okay? And those liability will come under the liability section, right? Okay. Yeah, next line, Sumit.
Yes, once classified as held for sale, intangible assets and the PP are no longer amortized
Or
depreciated.
Okay. Have I told you this aspect also? Once a non-current asset will be classified as a non-current asset held for sale, the depreciation and amortization should stop. Why? Because now this is not for use. Now this is held for sale, right? Now this is held for sale. Okay. So the next part I have not discussed. So you are not required to read this next part. Now I am taking you to the note number 52. Shall I show you the note number 52? Note number 52 दिखाऊं मैं आपको?
Yes.
Note
Yes, sir.
number 52. And this is your Nifty 50 company, Ultratech Cements. What is written in note number 52? Abrakes, can you please read this note number 52?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The company has identified certain assets like land, aggregate mines, coal washery, etc., which are available for sale in its present condition. The
Yes.
company is committed to plan the sale of asset and an active program to locate the buyer and complete the plan have been initiated. The company expects to dispose of these assets in the due course.
सुना सुना लग रहा है या सुना सुना लग रहा है? Is it something which is heard or blank?
Heard.
Heard. The company has identified certain assets, land, mines, coal washery. These all are PP, right? Which are available for sale in its present condition. ISPC. Available for immediate sale in present condition. Okay. Now sale is highly probable. The company is committed to plan. Management must be committed to plan to sell the asset. Active program to locate a buyer has been initiated. The price is quoted at a reasonable price. The company is expecting to be completed within 1 year. It is unlikely that the plan will change, right? So after reading this paragraph from the large listed company, from the Nifty 50 company, have you got some practical comfort out of theory? ये प्रैक्टिकल है, ये कंपनी ने लिखा है, अपनी एनुअल रिपोर्ट में लिखा है, जो आप सीए फाइनल में पढ़ रहे हो, राइट? So when you become chartered accountant and join Ultratech Siemens, you will write these kind of notes to accounts from Ind AS 105. Okay. When you appear for an interview, the interviewer, the financial reporting head will ask these kind of questions. What are the conditions to classify a non-current asset as a held for sale? Okay. Fantastic. So let me take you back to the presentation again. So friends, I have explained the concept. I have shown you the practical example from the annual report as well. Okay. I hope you got some comfort now. Yes. Friends, after classification, after recognition, now I have reached to the measurement part. Now I have reached to the measurement part. Measurement. How to measure a held for sale? How to measure a held for sale? Okay. Friends, let me take you to the Excel file. Please confirm if my Excel file is visible. And now I will explain you the measurement part. Okay. Accounting treatment. Accounting treatment. Accounting treatment. Measurement provisions of Ind AS 105. Measurement provisions of Ind AS 105. What is the measurement provisions of Ind AS 105? Standard says that while measuring a non-current asset held for sale, you have to follow 3 steps. You have to follow 3 steps. Step number one, compute the carrying value of non-current asset held for sale or disposal group as per the respective standard. Okay. Immediately before classification as held for sale. If you are classifying a PPE as a non-current asset held for sale, so please compute the carrying value of PPE as per the PPE standard on the date of classification as held for sale. For example, the company has purchased a building on 1st April 2020. On 1st April 2020. Okay. And now the company has decided to sell this building. The classification criteria, held for sale criteria, is meeting on 1st July 2024. Okay. So when this building was purchased on 1st April 2020, it was a PPE. Up to 31st, up to 1st July, up to 30th June, this building was PPE. But what happens on 1st July? This building will become NCHFS. So on 1st July, up to the 1st July, on 1st July, you have to compute the carrying value of this building as per Ind AS 16. आप जब भी वो asset non-current asset held for sale classify हुआ है, the day when this asset is meeting, when this non-current asset is meeting held for sale criteria, you have to compute the carrying value as per the respective standard. Right? हम उसकी Ind AS 16 के हिसाब से carrying value निकालेंगे. Second step, compute the fair value less cost to sale of the non-current asset held for sale or disposal group on the date of classification as held for sale. You need to compute the fair value less cost to sale. You need to compute the fair value less cost to sale of the disposal group held for sale and non-current asset held for sale. So now you have the carrying value, you have the fair value. Now you need to recognize the non-current asset held for sale at lower of carrying value and fair value less cost to sale. At lower of carrying value and fair value less cost to sale. Okay. At lower of carrying value and fair value less cost to sale. Let's understand with the help of this one example, right? Then I'll again discuss these steps. Example number 1. A Limited purchased a building on 1st April 2019 for rupees 20 lakhs. The useful life of the building is 10 years. Assume no residual value. The building has been classified as held for sale on 1st July 2020. Means after how many years? After how many months? After how many months?
15.
15 months.
Yes.
After 15 months. Yes. After 15 months. You are required to show the necessary entries for this effect. The fair value less cost to sell on 1st July 20 is 16 lakhs. So I have to show the necessary effect. Solution. Just see the solution. What is the cost of the building? 20 lakhs. What is the useful life? 10 years. What is my per annum depreciation? What is my per annum depreciation?
2 lakh.
2 lakh. What is my date of purchase?
1st April 2019.
1st April 19 in this case. What is my date of classification as HFS?
1st July 2020.
What is my fair value less cost to sell on 1st July 20?
17,50,000.
16 lakh. Fair value less cost to sell
16
पूछ रहा हूं मैं. तो क्वेश्चन में दी है.
16 lakh.
16 lakh is my fair value less cost to sell. This is what which is given in the question. This is what which is given in the question, right? Okay. Now let's discuss the entries. Step number 1. What is my step number 1? Step number 1. Calculate. पहला step मैंने क्या बताया था? Calculate the carrying value of the building as on which date?
As on 1st July 2020.
As on 1st July or I can write 30th June. मतलब 30th जून को रात के 12 बजे की जो वैल्यू होगी वही क्लोजिंग वैल्यू होगी ना, तब तक वो पीपी था. करेक्ट?
Yes, sir.
Correct? As on 30th June. So calculate the carrying value of the building as on 30th June 2019. Oh, sorry, 30th June 2020.
So 17,50,000.
अब इसकी कैरिंग वैल्यू निकालें कैसे? व्हाट इज द फॉर्मूला ऑफ कैरिंग वैल्यू? अभी आप 3 स्टैंडर्ड पढ़ चुके हो. इंड एस 16, 38, 40. व्हाट इज द फॉर्मूला ऑफ कैरिंग वैल्यू? कॉस्ट माइनस
Accumulated depreciation and impairment loss.
वेरी गुड अब्रकेश. माइनस accumulated impairment losses. ठीक है. So what is my cost? What is my cost?
20.
Cost is 20 lakhs. My cost is 20 lakhs. Right? Sorry. What is my depreciation? So less depreciation. Less accumulated depreciation. So first of all, I'll compute the depreciation for 1920. What is the depreciation for 1920?
Lakh.
What is?
2 lakh.
2 lakhs. What is the depreciation for 2020, 21, 3 months?
50,000.
Can I write minus 0.5 lakh? लिख सकता हूं मैं?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it's
Yes. So what is my carrying value?
17,50,000.
14.58.
17.50 lakhs. Okay, this is my carrying value. Are you clear on the step number 1? Everyone is clear on step number 1?
Yes.
Okay. What is my step 2? What is my step number 2? Calculate
Fair
fair
value.
value less cost to sell. Fair value less cost to sell. Like, what is my fair value less cost to sell on the 1st July 2020? क्या है fair
16.
value less cost to sell? वो दिया है ना,
16
क्वेश्चन में दिया है. Fair value
16
less
lakh.
cost to sell on 1st July 16 lakh. ये क्वेश्चन में दिया है. What is my step number 3? तीसरा स्टेप क्या है?
whichever is lower.
Whichever is lower. Compute lower of what? Lower of step number 1 and step number 2. So what is my carrying value? My carrying value is 17.5 lakh. What is my fair value less cost to sell? What is my fair value less cost to sell? 16 lakh. What is lower? Lower क्या है?
16 lakh.
16 lakh is lower. Lower is 16 lakh. Lower is 16 lakhs. So this NCHFS is measured at 16 lakhs. Shall I give you the accounting entries also? Shall I give you the accounting entries?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one thing is common in CA students. You know what is common? Whenever you told them that, shall I talk about accounting entries? They will say yes always. Always yes. And that is a good thing.
So it's for all students actually, be
Yes,
it
it's,
science or CA.
yeah, it's for all students, yes. And that is a good part also. I can tell you from my experience in the industry, if you read the, if you meet the, chartered accountant who are 20 years old, 25 years old chartered accountant, they start their discussion with accounting entries. Whenever they discuss the accounting treatment in my real life, so they also starts with accounting entries. अच्छा, इसकी entry क्या होगी? इसका impact कहाँ जाएगा balance sheet में? Right. What is debited? Whether I'll take it to the expense or balance sheet or asset, liability. So it starts with the accounting entry. I have seen so many senior chartered accountants as well. Yes. So let me discuss the accounting entries now. Okay. And I will give you the accounting entries for the entire life, for the entire journey of this asset. Okay. Accounting entries. Accounting entries. What is my first accounting entry? What is my first accounting entry?
Purchase of asset.
Purchase of asset. Purchase of building, right? What is the accounting entry for purchase of building?
Building to
Building
cash.
account debit to
Building,
bank.
building PPE, right? ये PPE थी ना उस time पे. It was PPE, correct? Building PPE account debit to cash or bank, whatever, right? After Modi ji, can I write this to bank?
Yes, sir.
Only bank.
Only bank, okay. So what is the price at which this building was purchased?
20 lakhs.
20 lakhs. 20 lakhs, right? Debit credit. So this was 20 lakh as per Ind AS 16. This was 20 lakh as per Ind AS 16. Okay. And this was Ind AS 16 accounting entry, correct? And what was the time? This was 1st April 2019. This date was 1st April 2019. This entry was 1st April 2019. Next entry. What is the next entry? Year end की कुछ entry करनी है?
Depreciation.
Sorry?
Depreciation.
Depreciation. Very good. Charge the depreciation. Depreciation charging. Depreciation for FY 19-20. Charging depreciation for FY 19-20. What is the accounting entry for depreciation? 31st March 20.
Depreciation to building.
Depreciation account debit to accumulated depreciation.
Depreciation account debit. Account debit to accumulated depreciation. Depreciation. Credit. What is the number?
2 lakhs.
2 lakh. 20 divided by 10. Or let me link it with this summary. 2 lakh. Being depreciation charged. What is the third entry?
Conversion of
Third
Yes.
entry. So this asset was up to 30th June 2020. What was the nature of this asset? This asset was Ind AS 16. From 1st July 2020, what is the nature of this asset? It went to Ind AS 105. ठीक है ना? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Up to 30th June, this was a PP. This was a PP. And on 1st July, this become NCHFS. This is what it is. So then I need to pass one entry also. I need to settle the account of PP. आपको PP का अकाउंट सेटल करना पड़ेगा ना, क्या एंट्री डालोगे?
Depreciation.
Depreciation, charging depreciation up to charging depreciation till 30th June 2020. तो एंट्री करनी पड़ेगी ना, क्या एंट्री होगी? चार्जिंग डेप्रिसिएशन अगेन step 2 accumulated debt is June 30th June 2020. Debit credit, what is the amount? Amount क्या होगा?
50,000.
50,000. ऐसे लिख दूं मैं 0.5 lakh लिख दूं?
Yes, sir.
Shall I
Yes, sir.
write 0.5 lakh? All the numbers are in lakhs, right? So this is the entry for depreciation. Okay, now what is the next entry? Now PP carrying value has been determined. Now we have to convert it, classify it to the NCHFS. NCHFS. So entry number 4. Entry number 4. Classify PP to NCA HFS on 1st July 2020. किस वैल्यू पे क्लासिफाई करेंगे पीपी को एनसीएचएफएस में? व्हाट वैल्यू?
16 lakh.
16 lakh.
Lower of the.
Lower of carrying value and
Or
fair value less
Fair
cost.
value less cost to sell.
Which carrying value? The carrying value which has been determined as per PP standard, as per respective standard, and the fair value less cost to sell on the date of classification is held for sale. What is the accounting entry? NCHFS account debit. NCHFS building account. NCHFS building account debit. Account debit. Okay. NCHFS building account debit. 2. At what value? NCHFS building account debit at what
16
value?
lakh.
16 lakh. Okay, 16 lakh. Just a minute. Let me write this way. To what? Credit क्या करूं?
Building account. Building account.
To building PP. इस building PP को credit करना पड़ेगा ना? To building PP. To building PP account. What is the carrying value of this building PP in the books of accounts?
17.5.
Very good. 17.5. Very good. So 20 minus 2 minus 0.5. $17.5. So credit is 17.5, debit is 16. Where this 1.5 will go?
Profit and loss account.
Impairment loss on reclassification. P&L. Debit. What is the balancing number? 17.5 minus 16. Do you have any question? Any question on this part? On this carrying value determination, on this fair value less cost to sell, on this lower of both the numbers, on this how to recognize PP, how to depreciate PP, how to reclassify PP to NCHFS? Yes, Pooja. Please ask.
सर अगर ये एसेट रिवैल्यूएशन मॉडल पे कैरी हुई होती पीपी अर्लियर, तो ये जो लास्ट में हमने डेबिट किया है पीएनएल में, ये अगर पीएनएल में ही जाता था फिर भी?
In that case, अगर आपके पास revaluation surplus होता, that impairment loss has to be adjusted from that revaluation surplus. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. I hope this is clear to everyone. Anyone else if you have any question? और कोई question? Any question?
Sir, this treatment is same for irrespective of whether it's a cost model or a revaluation model. Except certain terms, I agree. I mean, but otherwise it's same.
Sorry, Uppercase, please repeat.
Yeah, I'm repeating, sir. So this treatment, the accounting entries we have seen is same irrespective of whether the company is following cost model or a revaluation model.
Yes. The accounting treatment is same. You need to compute the carrying value. You need to compute the fair value less cost to sell, and you need to recognize your NCHFS at this value, right? Now I want to put some tadka. In this question, right? Let me make this question more complex. Can I make this question complex?
Always
Yes.
welcome, sir.
Okay. So now I'm extending my example, right? Example number 2, I've copied the same example and I'm putting some lines into this example. A Limited purchased a building on 1st April 2019 for rupees 20 lakhs. The useful life of the building is 10 years. Assume no residual value. The building has been classified as HFS on 1st July 20. You are required to show this, fair value less cost to sell this. There is an impairment loss. On this building. There is an impairment loss on this building as on 30th June 2000, as on 31st March 2020 for rupees 1 lakh. There is an impairment loss on this building as on 31st March 2020 for rupees 1 lakh. The building has been classified as HFS on 1st July 20. You are required to show the necessary entries for this effect. The fair value less cost to sell on 1st July 2020 is rupees 16 lakh. Quickly tell me the solution. Of this.
So carrying value will be 16.5 instead of 17.5. Again, the lower will be the fair value minus cost 16, and we will convert it on 16 lakhs only.
Wrong.
Sir, actually,
Depreciation
after
changes.
as on 30th June, we need to consider a depreciation based on after the impairment loss. So it's 18 minus 1, 17 lakhs, and thereafter for balancing life. So carrying amount will not be 16.5. It will be less than that.
Okay. I don't know why you guys are jumping just to the conclusion of the answer. Why you are not going step by step? Always remember, just go step by step. Doesn't matter that what is the complexity level of the question, you will be able to answer it rightly and very calmly, right? Just go step by step. First of all, the building is purchased at 20 lakh rupees. Simple. You will debit your building by 20 lakh and credit your bank by 20 lakh. Then what you will do? Year end will come. Year end पे क्या करोगे? You will charge depreciation, right? So you will depreciate. Depreciation account debit to accumulated depreciation 2 lakh. सही है ना? Any problem? ठीक है ना वो तो? Impairment loss 1 lakh. 1 lakh as on 31st March 2020. Okay. So 31st March 20 को after depreciation there is one more item, which is what? That is impairment loss. So let me put the accounting entries. First of all, let me put the accounting entries here. Okay. Accounting entries. This is 20 lakh. This is 2 lakh, and you guys need to help me in filling this accounting entry. What should I do on 31st March 20? I have to pass one more entry in this question because there is an additional information. What accounting entry I need to pass?
Impairment loss.
Impairment loss की एक accounting entry मुझे पास करनी पड़ेगी अभी. Impairment loss. Charging impairment loss. क्या अकाउंटिंग एंट्री पास करूं इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस की?
P&L debit to asset.
इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस P&L debit to asset. What is the value?
1 lakh rupees.
1 lakh.
To building PP. Credit 1 lakh. Okay. What is the closing value of closing? What is the carrying value? Carrying value of PP
17 lakhs.
17 lakhs.
as at 31st March 2020. क्या आएगी वैल्यू?
17 lakhs. 17 lakhs.
20 minus 2 minus 1. 20 minus 2 minus 1. 17. What is the remaining life? What is the remaining life of this asset?
9 years.
9 years. 9 years. What is the next entry? Next entry. I need to charge depreciation.
30th.
Depreciation for 3
आपको
months.
depreciation charge करना पड़ेगा ना, charging depreciation till 30th June 2020. ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
कोई गिला शिकवा तो नहीं? Any problem?
0.47. 0.5.
So what is the depreciation for full year? What is the depreciation for full year? 7 divided by 9. What is the depreciation for 3 months? Multiply by 3 by 12.
0.47.
0.4722. 47,022 for 0.4722, right? 47,220. Okay. So I can write as a 4.47. अगर किसी को ये समझ नहीं आया तो बताओ प्लीज. If anyone who has not understood this, please let me know. What is the carrying value of PP as on 30th June 2020? क्या होगी carrying value PP की?
16.53. 17.53, sorry.
17 minus
16.53.
16.53. Okay. So let's go to the steps. Steps क्या क्या थे? क्या क्या स्टेप्स थे? मैंने अकाउंटिंग एंट्री से भी निकाल दिया, दोबारा से मैं कॉपी कर लूं इसको. Shall I copy it? Step 1. Carrying value. What is my carrying value? Step 1. Carrying value is how much? What is my cost?
20 lakhs.
My cost is 20 lakhs. Minus 2 minus 0.47 था ना? 0.47.
-1. Impairment
Okay,
loss.
Impairment loss.
minus 1 also, no? Less. Impairment. Minus 1. 16.53. What is my fair value less cost to sell? 16 lakh. What is lower? 16 lakh. So what is the next entry? अब
Same.
अगली एंट्री क्या होगी? नेक्स्ट एंट्री भी कर लें? कर लेते हैं, नहीं तो आप नाराज हो जाओगे. Classify PP to NCHFS on 1st July 20. Next entry. What is the entry? NCHFS 16. Impairment loss की एंट्री बाद में करेंगे. What is to building? Building में कितना क्रेडिट करेंगे?
16.53.
553.
The difference will go to the impairment loss again. So in this question there are two impairment loss. इस question में कितने impairment loss हैं? There are two impairment loss in the life of this asset. Number 1, when it was a PP. Number 2, when it was reclassified to NCHFS. So 1 lakh when it was PP, 0.53 when it becomes NCHFS. So this asset has a total impairment loss of 1.53 which was debited to P&L. Any doubt in this question? Any doubt in this question?
So what if fair value अगर ज्यादा होती तो जो प्रॉफिट होता वो?
What if fair value ज्यादा होती? Okay.
Revaluation reserve.
Okay. Example number 3. Example number 3. फ्रेंड्स, डू यू फाइंड दिस एग्जाम्पल यूजफुल? आपके सारी सिचुएशंस पे मैं जो आपको एग्जाम्पल देता रहता हूँ, डू यू फाइंड दिस
Yes, sir.
एग्जाम्पल्स यूजफुल
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
टू रिमेंबर द कॉन्सेप्ट्स?
Yes, sir.
द फेयर वैल्यू लेस कॉस्ट टू सेल इज 18 lakhs. ठीक है पूजा? इज दैट ओके सुमित? The fair value less cost to sell on 1st July 20 is 18 lakhs. Okay. So let me put this in numbers later on. The first entry will be as it is, purchase of building. Second entry will be as it is, charging of depreciation. Third entry will be as it is, charging impairment loss. Fourth entry will be non-current asset PP transfer. I will put the numbers. Step number 1, what is the carrying value of this building? What is the carrying value of this building? 16.53.
16.5.
What is the carrying value? What is the fair value less cost to sell? 18 lakh. Mathematical. Step number 3. Compute lower of step number 1 and step number 2. What is lower? Mathematics.
16.5.
16.53 lakhs. Is low. So NCHFS is measured at how much? 16.53 lakhs. Okay. So what is the value of NCHFS? NCHFS में कोई रिवैल्यूएशन मॉडल का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं, पीपी में था. अब तो ये NCHFS बन चुका है. अब तो ये NCHFS की क्लास में आ गया, पीपी खत्म हो गया. So what is the value of the PP? 16.53. Debit NCHFS 16.53. So what is debit credit? Any profit or loss? Any question? Any
No,
question?
sir.
So my dear students, please remember, up to 30th June 2020 midnight, रात को 12 बजे, midnight 12, it was PP. From early morning 1st July 2020, it is NCA HFS. The cost model, revaluation model concept was there when it was a PP. The cost model, revaluation model concept is not there in Ind AS 105. Ind AS 105 simple says that you need to measure a disposal group held for sale or a non-current asset held for sale at lower of carrying value on the date of reclassification as per the respective standard and fair value less cost to sell, whichever is lower. Simple. Whichever is lower means mathematically whichever is lower. Simple. यहाँ पे carrying value is lower, so we have measured this NCHFS at carrying value, and hence there is no profit, no loss. या revaluation model का concept ही नहीं है, right? So please don't get confused. Every standard has its own implications. Correct? So ऐसा नहीं कि अगर fair value ज्यादा है तो मुझे ज्यादा करना ही करना है. No, you're not going to do that. Okay? Is that clear? Any question? Any question? Okay, Ginny. Yeah. Friend.
Sir, sorry to disturb, sir. Sir, if I'm following that carrying value, like accumulated depreciation, impairment loss, it is fine. My book will be showing 16.53. If I have opted for revaluation model, it will be showing as 18 lakhs, no, sir.
In PP
Because
standard. In PP standard.
Yes, based on that only we will transfer that, no?
No. So what happens? This fair value less cost to sell concept is under Ind AS 105, right? Under PP standard, the concept is only fair value, not less cost to sell. Okay. So first of all, Anila, you need to see that what this standard talks about, what the question talks about, whether question is saying that, you have opted for revaluation model. So if you have opted for revaluation model, then, and if the fair value is there, then you will revalue it. Then you will revalue it. Otherwise not. Okay. Normally in the question, it will not be there. Why? Because if you have to reclassify that asset as a fair value, if you have to reclassify that asset as a NCHFS, then there is no point of getting it revalued. Then there is no point. Okay. So always remember, you have to take the increased fair value in PP standard when it has opted for revaluation model. Right? Clear? Is that clear, Anila?
Yes, but, sir, actually you are saying that in this, if the asset is held for means conversion like this, they'll not use revaluation model generally, practically. Is that what
Yes,
you meant to say?
practically no one will use. And even in the question, it will not come like that,
No, okay.
right? But yes, if the revaluation, if the fair value was given on 31st March 2020, then what will happen? Instead of impairment, let's say in this question, if I have to make it more complex, and in this particular question, if it would be written that the value of this PP, the recoverable value of this PP, or let's say fair value of this, not recoverable value, fair value of this PP is 19 lakh as on 31st March 2020. And the company has opted for revaluation model. Of course, on 31st March 20, you have to opt to that. What accounting entry you will pass? You will pass building PP account debit 1 lakh to revaluation surplus 1 lakh. Correct? क्योंकि आपका 31st मार्च को तो 20 - 2 18 है ना कैरिंग वैल्यू. अगर इसकी फेयर वैल्यू 19 लाख हो गई तो आप 1 लाख का इम्पेयरमेंट 1 लाख का रिवैल्यूएशन सरप्लस बुक करोगे. राइट अनिला?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the carrying value will become 19 lakh. And in that case, you have to compute the depreciation as per 19 lakh for the 3 months. 19 lakh divide by 9, multiply by 3 by 12. Okay. Then your carrying value will come like 18 point something. Okay. Then you need to compute that carrying value with the fair value less cost to sell. Okay. And if the impairment will come, you have the revaluation surplus also. You will set off that impairment with that revaluation surplus, means you have to debit revaluation surplus. Okay. Instead of 100% impairment loss, you have to debit your revaluation surplus. Okay.
So the difference will be that cost to sale, we will not take in that carrying value. Here we will consider cost to sale. So there will be a difference. The both will not be equal.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yes. Yes, of course. Yes. Right. So there is a, when you read the different standards and when you complete this financial reporting aspect, you have to be very clear. There is a difference between the measurement methods. Somewhere it says that recoverable value, right? What is meant by recoverable value? Higher of what?
Sale or useful life.
Higher of fair
Present
value less
value of
cost to
cash
sell.
flow.
Higher of fair value less cost to sell and value in use. Okay. Higher of fair value less cost to sell and value in use means present value, future cash flows, and the amount which you can receive by selling an asset. So recoverable value is a separate concept. Then there is a fair value. What is a fair value? It's a market value only. Then there is a fair value less cost to sell. If you will reduce the cost to sell from the fair value, it will become fair value less cost to sell. Then there is a net realizable value, which is used in inventory standard, NRV. What is NRV? NRV is estimated selling price minus estimated cost to completion minus estimated cost to disposal. So Anila, all these measurement methods are different methods, right? You need to understand which method is getting used where. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it clear or clear?
Clear, sir.
Clear. Okay. Clear in mind?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. So first of all, every increase in fair value does not mean you have to take that fair value. You have to be very clear. If the question is investment property and the fair value is higher, you remember investment property, कोई वहां revaluation model था?
नहीं, cost model
No
ही
Yes.
revaluation model there.
Yes. So if question will give you, the fair value of the investment property, right? Of course, you can compute the carrying value because building is also supposed to depreciation. So cost minus accumulated appreciation minus accumulated impairment losses. You have computed the carrying value of the investment property, which is building. And intentionally the question, just to confuse you, the question has given you the fair value also. And the fair value was higher than the carrying value. So you cannot take that higher fair value. Why? Because there is no revaluation model in investment property. The fair value will only be used to disclosure purposes, right? Okay. And the question will again confuse you. The question will give you the exam paper. The question will give you the PP question, property, plant and equipment. And the last line in the big question, the last line was the company has opted for the cost model and the question will give you fair value which is more than the carrying value. So हमेशा बड़ी वाली carrying value, fair value देखते ही ना ये मत सोचना मेरे को तो लेना ही लेना है. No, you have to see what is the item, what is the type of the asset, which standard is applicable. Correct? I have given you 2-3 example here only. Shall I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So friends, we discussed the initial measurement of the NCA HFS. And what we discussed that NCA HFS, for measuring an NCA HFS, first, if it is an intangible asset, if it is an investment property, if it is a PP, compute the carrying value as per the respective standard. Carrying value means cost minus depreciation minus impairment losses. Then you need to compute the fair value less cost to sell. Fair value minus cost to sell. Okay. Then you need to compare both the values. Whatever value is the lower, you need to take that value for the measurement of NCA HFS. If your fair value is lower than, fair value less cost to sell is lower than the carrying value, of course, you will again have an impairment at the time of reclassification as NCA HFS. Now, in this example, what happens? If the company has not been sold out, this particular asset up to 31st March 2021, तो क्या होगा? What is the subsequent measurement requirement? क्या होगा if the company will not be able to sold out this asset? Then what will happen?
No depreciation for NCFH.
Depreciation तो नहीं होगा. Very good. So
The
whether
mark to
depreciation,
market,
sorry,
the mark to market fair value comparison with cost.
fair value comparison. Okay. Question whether depreciation will be charged post 30th June 2020? No. Once
No.
asset will be classified as NCHFS, then depreciation amortization will be stopped immediately because the intent of the company is not to use the asset. The intent of the company is to sell the asset. Now, what is the measurement requirement if the above building has not been sold till 31st March 2021? क्या होगा in that case? Subsequent measurement. Standard says that on the reporting date, this NCHFS has to be remeasured at fair value less cost to sale. On the reporting date, आप फिर से इसका fair value less cost to sell compute करोगे. फिर से you have to compute the fair value less cost to sell again. You have to compute. Right? Sir, in the example number 2, so let me take the example number 2. Okay. That example was impairment loss example, right? In this example number 2, I am again copying this example. This will become example number 4. I am putting a line here. The asset has not been sold out till 31st March 2021. The asset has not been sold out till 31st March 2021. The asset has not been sold out till 31st March 2021. You are required to show the necessary entries for this effect, right? Effect in the following cases. What are the cases? Case 1. Fair value less cost to sell on 31st March 21 is 15 lakh. Fair value less cost to sell on 31st March 21 is 18 lakhs. Fair value less cost to sell on 31st March 21 is 17 lakhs. Okay. So case 1. First of all, let's talk about the case 1 solution. इस क्वेश्चन में सबसे पहले what was the carrying value of this? What was the value of the NCHFS? NCHFS as on 1st July 2020. What was the initial measurement of NCHFS? NCHFS value कितनी थी? Sorry?
16.53 lakhs.
नहीं एग्जाम्पल 2 है ना, ये वाला एग्जाम्पल 2 में कितनी वैल्यू थी इसकी?
16.53 sir.
NCHFS की वैल्यू तो 16 लाख थी ना
हाँ,
एग्जाम्पल।
yes sir, yes sir, yes
ये
sir.
देखो ना, मैंने एग्जाम्पल क्या ली। A Limited purchased a building for 20 lakhs. The life is 10 years. A impairment loss on this building was 1 lakh. Then building has been classified as HFS on 1st July 20. The fair value less cost to sell on 1st July is 16 lakh. Asset has not been sold out till 31st March 21. तो ये एग्जाम्पल नंबर 2 था। एग्जाम्पल नंबर 2 के अंदर what was the value in example number 2? In example number 2, the carrying value was 16.53. Fair value less cost to sell was 16 lakh. Your NCHFS value was 16 lakh, right? Lower of carrying value and fair value less cost to sell. Correct? ये तो सबको पता है ना? इसको repeat करूं मैं इस पूरे को? Should I repeat this?
No sir, no sir.
Okay. So NCHFS value on 1st July 20 is 16 lakh. Now on 31st March 21 it has to be remeasured. On 31st March 2021 NCHFS has to be remeasured and stated at a fair value less cost to sell. So what is the fair value less cost to sell on 31st March?
15 lakh.
So if I compare 15 and 16, the value has declined. क्या करूं? What is the accounting entry on 31st March 21? क्या accounting entry pass करूं?
Impairment loss account debit
Very
to
good. Again,
VLC.
impairment loss on remeasurement of NCA-HFS debit to what?
NCA-HFC.
NCA-HFS credit. This is on the reporting date. What is an amount? 16 minus 15. 16
1 lakh.
minus 15. 1 lakh. So again 1 lakh rupees of impairment loss will be charged. Case 2. Fair value less cost to sell as on 31st March 21 is 18 lakhs. बढ़ गई तो क्या करेंगे?
कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे।
पक्का?
Yes sir.
Standard says
नहीं sir, revaluation reserve आएगा क्योंकि it's not mentioned that it is lower of fair value cost, less cost and new carrying cost.
But uppercase revaluation reserve will always come whenever this asset is PP. This is not a PP, this is NCHFS. There is no concept of revaluation reserve in NCHFS.
Okay, agreed.
I have
Maybe to
explained
the
this in
extent of
detail.
loss may be reversed.
Standard says that whenever there is an increase in fair value less cost to sell, whenever there is an increase in fair value less cost to sell on the reporting date, you have to recognize the increase. Recognize the increase
To the extent of reversal of
extent
impairment.
to the extent of previous cumulative impairment losses, to the extent of previous cumulative impairment losses. Previous cumulative impairment losses means previous cumulative unadjusted impairment losses. Tell me, what is the impairment loss on this asset? इस asset पे कितने impairment loss हैं? इस asset पे go step by step. 1 लाख का impairment loss है ना, या लिखा है there is an impairment loss on this building as on 31st
Yes,
March
sir.
20, right?
Yes, sir. 1 lakh.
So when this asset was PP, during the life of PP, how much was the impairment loss?
1 lakh.
1 lakh. ये समझ आ रहा है ना सबको? Is that clear or not clear?
Yes, sir.
You have to see. I have not repeated this entire thing because I have already explained example 1, 2, 3, right? So I have just copied the question and I am explaining the next part. क्योंकि फर्स्ट पार्ट आपको समझ में आ चुका है, कैरिंग वैल्यू कैसे निकालना है, कंपेयर कैसे करना है, उसका डिफरेंस होगा तो कहां लेके जाना है, यू ऑल आर क्लियर, राइट? So during the life of PP, the impairment loss was 1 lakh. Now at the time of initial measurement,
0.53.
measurement
0.53.
as
0.53.
NCHFS. So what is the impairment loss at the time of initial measurement of NCHFS?
0.53.
दिखाऊं मैं आपको ऊपर ले जाके, ये हमने सॉल्व किया था एग्जांपल नंबर 2. So in example number 2, one impairment loss was this, okay, in PP, and the another impairment loss was 0.53. This, okay. So what is the total impairment loss? What is the total impairment loss? 0.53, 0.5.
$1.53 lakhs.
Plus 1 lakh, sir. 31st March 21. So that is.
नहीं, ये अलग अलग केसेस हैं.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry.
So Anila, I am talking different situation. Otherwise, how will you able to handle the question? In exam, either of the situation will come, na?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
the first situation, the value has declined. The second situation, on the same date, the value has increased. Okay. Yes. So what was my NCHFS value on 1st July 20? It was 16 lakh. It was 16 lakh. What is my fair value less cost to sell as on 31st March 20? What is my FV less CTS as on 31st March 21, not 2021? How much is that? 18 lakh. So what is the increase? 2 lakh. Shall I recognize the entire increase? Answer is no. Standard says that you have to recognize the increase only to the extent of previous cumulative impairment losses. So what is the accounting entry? Accounting entries: NCHFS account debit, NCHFS account debit. 2 impairment reversal. That is gain. Unadjusted. सर अगर ये कॉस्ट मॉडल पे नहीं, रिवैल्यूएशन मॉडल पे था, और जो पुराने वाला इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस है ऑलरेडी रिवर्स हो चुका है, तो फिर तो बचा ही नहीं ना आज. करेक्ट? इफ द इम्पेयरमेंट लॉस इज अनएडजस्टेड मींस it has not been adjusted with revaluation surplus. Okay, in that case whatever is unadjusted, that you need to take care. 1.53. So what is my closing value? What is my closing value of NCHFS? Closing carrying value of NCHFS?
17.53.
Carrying value NCHFS as on 31st March 2021. How much? 16 was the initial value plus 1.53. 17.53. In the first case, what was the carrying value? In the first case, the carrying value as on 31st March 21 was 16 minus 1. 15 lakh. Fine. Is that fine? Third situation, case 3. Fair value less CTS, fair value less CTS, fair value less cost to sell as on 31st March 2021 is 17 lakh. What to do now? What was my initial value? NCHFS on 1st July 20 is 16 lakh. Initially measured at 16 lakh. But now this fair value less CTS Fair value less cost to sell becomes 17 lakh. There is an increase of 1 lakh. What to do?
Only 1 lakh to be
Increase. Recognize the increase to the extent of previous cumulative impairment losses. So previous cumulative impairment loss is 1.53. But there is an increase of 1 lakh. So क्या करूं?
Only 1 lakh is to be considered.
Only 1 lakh to be considered. Only 1 lakh to be considered. Very good. So NCHFS account debit to impairment reversal gain. Okay. What is that? 1 lakh. ठीक है ना? Fair value से beyond तो मैं कर ही नहीं सकता ना. It cannot go beyond fair value. Okay. So what is my carrying value of HFS as on 31st March 21? What is my carrying value as on 31st March 21? 16 plus
17.
17 lakh. Any doubt? Any problem on the initial measurement, on the remeasurement? Any question? Hemant is asking, why should we account for new fair value less cost to sell? There is already a sale agreement. Why should we account for new fair? There is a already sale agreement. Okay. Hemant, first of all, tell me if there is a sale agreement, okay, but in whose balance sheet this asset is coming out? In whose balance sheet this asset is existing? While there is a sale agreement, but this asset has not actually been sold out. Okay. The asset is still existing in the seller's book. The asset is still existing in the company's book. Right. So what happens if after 31st March, the buyer will not be able to, buy this property while the purchase agreement is there, binding agreement is there. For example, when you enter into property agreement, first you enter into agreement to sell and you pay a token money of, let's say, 10%. If you are buying a property of 1 crore, you are paying 10 lakh rupees. Okay. You took 3 months time. Subsequently, due to some, unexpected situations, you are not able to pay 90 lakh rupees. So what you will do? What you will do? After 3 months, you went to the seller and you will say that, sorry, I will not be able to arrange the money because bank is not giving me loan, right? So please refund my 10 lakh rupees. Probably the seller will not refund because it was a binding agreement. And now the seller will search for another buyer. So that is why till the time the asset is existing in the books of the seller, you have to do some measurement of that asset. And since this asset is held for sale, and hence standard says that since it is not for use, it is for sale, you have to remeasure it at fair value less cost to sell, right? आपको इसको remeasure करना है fair value less cost to sell पे. Okay. If fair value less cost to sell has been declined, recognize the impairment loss again. If the fair value less cost to sell has been increased, recognize the increase only to the extent of previous cumulative impairment losses. Previous cumulative impairment losses. कौन से cumulative? मतलब when it was PP, if there is any impairment loss that has to be taken, and when it becomes NCHFS, if there is any impairment loss that is also required to be taken. Okay. Is that fine?
So
Great.
can we say this concept is mark to market?
Yes, you can say that this concept is mark to market, but the only difference is, mark to market, whatever difference is there, you are taking it. But in this case, if it is increasing, in that case, you become choosy. In that case, if the value is increasing, you are not taking the entire value. Right?
Right. But
You are
in case, but in this case, if impairment loss is not there, then we can say the same concept.
Let's say if the impairment loss is not there and the value has increased. In that case, you will not take any increase, na?
Yes, sir.
तो mark to market नहीं हुआ ना?
Yes, sir. सर क्वेश्चन उल्टा बोल दिया मैंने, कुछ अलग बोलना था, फ्रेम गलत कर लिया.
Okay. So let me reframe for you. Basically, what happens? You have to compare your initial measurement with the subsequent market value, subsequent fair value less cost to sell, not market value. Reporting date fair value less cost to sell. Okay. If the fair value less cost to sell on the reporting date has been declined, then you have to take the entire decline because conservatism is there. Okay. Applying the conservative principle, prudent principle, since the value has gone down. Impairment का भी concept क्या था? क्या concept था? The carrying value of the asset should not be more than the recoverable value, right? So
Yes.
if the fair value less cost to sell has been declined, you have to take the entire decline. You have to book the impairment loss. But if it is increasing, you have to take the increase only to the extent of the previous cumulative impairment losses. If in the previous there was no impairment loss, you are not required to take any increase. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have taken so many examples with illustration, accounting entries, illustration, matlab my own illustration. But I can guarantee you, my dear friend, if you will see these illustrations during the course of your revision and preparation, I can guarantee you, you will be able to solve any question, because you can see whatever question is coming into your mind, I have given all the illustrations to that. Okay. Sahi hai nahi hai? Am I right or wrong? So let me take one question from ICAI study material, and then I'll conclude the today's session. So I am sharing the ICAI study material. So let me share that. Lot of examples are there. If you can see this study material, very less questions, but lot of examples. And I have taken most of the examples. If you can see, illustrations are very limited. Illustration number 1. Can you see the illustration number 1? Illustration number 1. Entity ABC owns an item of property. Entity ABC owns an item of property, and it was stated at the following amounts. It was stated at the following amounts in its last financial statements. 31st March 2001. 31st March 2001. Okay. Cost is 12 lakh. Depreciation is 6 lakh. Net book value is 6 lakh. The asset is depreciated at an annual rate of 10%, which is 1,20,000 per annum. और इसमें क्या बताया आपको? आपको ये भी बता दिया कि 10% is the rate. It is SLM 10%. Entity ABC closes its books on 31st each year. During July 2001, means after 3 months. ABC decided to sell the asset on 1st August. Or during July 2001, means after 4 months. And on 1st August, it meets the definition of, it meets the condition to be classified as held for sale. Analyze what will be the treatment of the property in the books for the year 2001-2002. So how do you write this? How do you write the answer of this question? First of all, you have to write that up to 31st July, this asset was PPE. Up to 31st July, this asset was PPE. Okay. This asset was PPE. Right. Then on 1st of August, it become NCA HFS. Right. Because it was meeting the condition of held for sale. It becomes NCA HFS. Okay. NCA HFS. Now, as on 1st of August, for measuring the non-current asset held for sale, the entity needs to measure the carrying value of this asset as on 31st July 2001. So how to compute the carrying value on 31st July 2001? On 31st March, what is the book value? What is the carrying value on 31st March? 6 lakh. क्या करें? 31st July की वैल्यू कैसे निकालूं? Can you help me quickly?
6 lakhs less depreciation for 4 months.
What is the depreciation for 4 months?
It's 40,000.
It's 120 divided by 12 multiplied by 4, right?
So it's 40,000.
40,000. 6 lakh minus 40,000. So the carrying value is 6 lakh minus 40,000. It is 5 lakh 60,000. Okay. So the carrying value is 5 lakh 60,000. And the entity in this question, the fair value less cost to sell is not given, right? So you have to write. So this 5,60,000 has to be compared with the fair value less cost to sell, and whatever is lower, that will be the value of NCA HFS. Further, from 1st August 2001, this asset will not be subject to depreciation. The depreciation will not be charged to this asset. Okay. This is what which is given in the question. Is that right? So friends, let's have a Maggie time. In the next 2 minutes, I will make a revision for all of you. Friends, we have started with the concept of the title of the standard, non-current asset held for sale in discontinued operation. We understood that this standard deals with those non-current assets which are held for sale. Okay. And which assets will be covered into this standard? Number 1, property, plant and equipment. Number 2, intangible asset. Number 3, investment property. And number 4, goodwill. Largely these assets will be covered under this standard when it becomes held for sale. And we will be talking about, we have discussed the individual asset held for sale, which is NCHFS, non-current asset held for sale. Then group of asset held for sale, which is DGHFS, and discontinued operation, right? For an individual asset held for sale to be covered under this standard, it has to be a non-current asset. A group of asset may have a combination of current and non-current asset and liabilities as well. Okay. Once an asset will be classified as held for sale when 2 conditions will met. Number 1, the objective is to receive the future economic benefit from sale, not from the use. So the objective is very clear. Number 2, it has to be classified as held for sale when it meets the 2 conditions, ISPC plus HP, Internet Service Provider Company and Hindustan Petroleum. Internet Service Provider Company means available for immediate sale in present condition. Available for immediate sale in present condition. The asset must be available for immediate sale in present condition, and sale must be highly probable, right? It means the entity has an intention and ability to sell the asset, and the sale is highly probable means 5 conditions should be satisfied. Management is committed to sell the asset. The management started searching the buyer. The asset price which is quoted is reasonable, and it is likely that the asset will be sold within 1 year, and it is unlikely that the plan of sale will change. Right? Once an asset will meet the definition of held for sale, okay, it has to be measured as a NCA HFS, right? And friends, if there is the asset has not been sold out or not expected to be sold out within 1 year, it may go beyond 1 year. It is allowed in 2 situations. Number 1, if the situation is beyond the entity's control, for example, due to natural calamities, due to COVID, etc., etc. So number 2, if the delay is due to buyer, and if the binding agreement has been entered with the buyer, in that case, this delay, even though the delay is there, it will still to be classified as held for sale. Then we discussed, once it will be classified as NCHFS, it has to be measured at lower of carrying value on the date of reclassification held for sale as per the respective standard, and fair value less cost to sell. Whatever is lower, that will become the value of NCHFS. And if it is lower than the carrying value of that date, again, the impairment loss has to be charged to the P&L. Number 2, on the reporting date, it has to be subsequently remeasured at fair value less cost to sell. If fair value less cost to sell has further declined, you have to take the impairment again in the P&L. If fair value less cost to sell has been increased, in that case, you have to take the increase only to the extent of previous unadjusted impairment losses. Okay. So to that extent, you can increase the value of NCHFS debit to impairment gain, right? And friends, we have also discussed the concept of abandoned asset. If the company have stopped using any particular asset and the company will use that particular asset, the company will not classify that asset as a non-current asset held for sale, because the objective is not to sell the asset. The objective is to use the asset when demand will pick up. Thank you so much. In the 2.5 minutes, I have summarized the entire today's discussion. Any question, would be happy to discuss. Any question? Pooja, you have any question?
No, sir.
Anila, Abrakesh, any question?
No, sir. No, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
It's very clear in mind, sir.
Very clear in mind. Okay, great. Sumit, Hemant. Okay, perfectly fine. If you have now any questions, so let me conclude the session today. Thank you so much, friends. And we will be completing this Ind AS 105 tomorrow, and I'll cover all the illustration, largely all the illustration from ICAI study material, right? The examples which I have taken, right? So all the examples which I have taken, it was there in ICAI study material also. Thank you so much, friends. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ashok ji.